endowed the British race with a worldwide empire, that they may execute his sovereign purpose in the world. The victories you will have over the heathen are the victories of the nobler soul in man.
God save the Queen! God save the Queen!
All right, guys, I'm going to cut it short there, but thank you for joining us again. This is part 2 of the kebabbing, the kebabs at dawn, the split. Well, what else can you call it than basically a power grab? But yeah, we're going to do part 2. We're going to do the defectors side now. We've heard from the incumbents. The please, we'll do anything. Come back. I look really weak as a leader, Mark Collett, and I apologies for the audio at the end of the last stream. I was going to do a TLDR of things you missed. Basically, this is going to get bloody. It's not going to be all civil. There's going to be name calling, etc. as the weeks go on. They're now in direct competition with each other. The winner of this epic event, this battle for nationalism, the winner is the first one to get called a paedophile. I guess. That's kind of what happened in past epic battles for nationalism, circa 2007. And basically, yeah, other TLDRs was Laura lies a lot. Steve Blake's obviously Agent Blake for Kenny Smith. And yeah, there was a comment about the in-group and, Mark and how he let everyone, how he's best friends with the in now, even though they had disagreements. Mark leaves out all the fact that, he spammed them with child porn. And he knew the guy who was doing the spamming and the child porn, but didn't report him to the police. But, it was all for the, and how Kenny and Mark, whoever, sent people into the inn to infiltrate it, but shit like that, smearing of people, but they're best friends now. They've capitulated, the inn capitulated, they didn't want to get called names anymore, and so they're buddy, and Mark won that round. And I think Mark's strategy going into this next phase is to do the same. He's gonna, I think he's gonna be emboldened by that victory there. He's going to try and call people names and spam them their chats, and yeah, it's going to get messy, but it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun for everyone on the sidelines watching this. Grab the popcorn. It's going to be beautiful. So I think we'll go to round 2, which will be the defector side. As let me just close that down. I will start up this stream with share screen. Right, let's go. Kenny Smith, there we are. Here we go. Right, should have audio. Right, guys, before we begin, you can all hear me, right? Yeah. Please, can I get a in a chat? You can hear the sound quality. It's all good. I can see my thing moving, so that's a good sign. But you can hear me, right? And we'll begin. Nice. Let's go then.
As Ant stated there, the my resignation letter that was submitted to the Regional Organisers Council is in the chat. It was dated the 12th, which was a wee while now, over a week ago now. And then the letter from 36 of the officers of Patriotic Alternative was posted on the 18th, prior to a meeting that was held on that date. Patriotic Alternative had 54 officers, so you can tell that is a sizable number of officers that signed that. And of that number, 32 have actually come over. With
oof, that's half your organisation gone, Mark. Damn, that's a lot of people. No wonder you got your begging bowl out and literally like capitulating to like what amounts to terrorist demands over on your side, with your oh, we'll give you anything you want. Please come back. I did make out the point that everyone who's defected literally have Mark's bowls in their purse right now. They can walk back and demand whatever they like by the sounds of it. Within theory, whether they do or not, I don't know. It seems like they're pretty hell bent on continuing on this course, and yeah.
Us at Homeland.
Homeland.
I'll just give a brief overview.
Homeland. It would be fantastic if they could literally like set up a kebab shop called Homeland. That'd be like the icing on the cake for this new movement. Their headquarters would be above a kebab shop named Homeland, or even just above a kebab shop. That would be, mwah, that'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
As I see it, and there'll be plenty of opportunity for questions afterwards. I think some of the officers also here, the ROs will say their piece as well. There have been a lot of things going on in the last few days, but I think most people here, we had a chat last night at 7 p.m. as well for the officers that came over, and I think for them it wasn't a surprise, what has happened. My resignation letter indicates that, but for most people beyond the regional council levels, it probably is a massive surprise that we're saying that there were so many problems. But that is testimony to the fact that we employ the, good news down, bad news up, and we try to deal with things in-house. I've been hearing nonsense that this has been an orchestrated split, that there's been a grab for power, that apparently I've resigned because I didn't get a promotion.
Grab for power. You literally locked them out of their chats, Kenny. You literally locked them out of their chats and banned them from their chats. How is this not a grab for power? And you're saying it's not over promotion? Okay. Let's continue and see what you have to say about that then.
All of these things are absolute nonsense. Myself and several of the senior officers, and I call everybody who's a regional organizer above is effectively a national officer. They're part of a national regional organizers council that meets once a month, which is part of the problem, to be perfectly honest here. I've been pushing for the senior table of PA to have weekly meetings to help with organisation and guidance in dealing with the issue of the day and problems, and that doesn't happen. For over a year and a half, and probably longer, I've been pushing for certain things to be fixed. In fact, there's been aspects I've been asking to be fixed since day one. I came on with Mark because I was sold on the idea that PA was absolutely something different, and I was absolutely impressed with Mark. Felt he'd matured since our last time working together.
You mean the last time you called him a paedophile? Do we just want to like read that for a second? You want to go and read the should we say the testimony of one Kenny Smith about the split that happened in the BNP over Mark Collett. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's stop sharing that. Let's actually share my screen. Share my screen, entire screen. Here we go. Share audio. Yep. Let's go there. Let's go to Telegram. Let's go. Here we go. Right. Okay. So this is from the Enough is Enough blog. Right. This is the blog that Kenny Smith and the defectors, the people who defected from the BNP in 2007, set up. Of those people was Sadie Graham, Matt Single. I think you've heard these names before, right? One Steve Blake, even Kenny Smith, and who was the other ones? There was 6 of them. Oh, I can't remember. I know one of them. One of them was like, I think Scott or something. But anyway, right. So these people split off over Mark Collett's attitude and behavior. So when he says Mark Collett has matured, does he mean he's matured from being a paedophile? I mean, can you mature from being a paedophile? But let's read what it says here. So, on Tuesday, the 4th of December, the CMT recommended the sacking of Collett and Hannan after Griffin agreed to them receiving a verbal warning for their latest transgression of the Code of Conduct. The reason they recommended expulsion was twofold. Firstly, because under the terms of the Constitution and the terms of the final warning they received for their failed attempt at paedophilia, the offence was not mentioned in the confirmation letters to avoid bringing embarrassment to the party. Though, as it is now the public domain, I need not hide the fact now. The secondary, and because it was Griffin's big chance to get rid of the milestone that had been holding the party back for some time now, and creating problems with an internal management structure, Griffin's reaction was not unexpected. He slapped the CMT down and laid the blame at the feet of Sadie and myself instead. My letter of sacking was actually dated the 6th through, delivered to the 9th, and despite communications with him during that time, he didn't even have the courage to bring the subject up with me in person, just as he had never mentioned 2 of the issues he cited in his letter sacking me either. And this is written from Kenny Smith's point of view. I should mention that this conjecture, several points that should be stated here on the Collett and Hannan final warning was meted out to them for disgusting behaviour at the 2006 conference. They only got final warnings because Griffin refused to let them be expelled. The disciplinary panel, Scott McLean, the deputy chairman, and the disciplinary officer, Nick Cass, then party manager, and Steve Blake, then web editor, AC members all accepted the pair's guilty pleas after the evidence was stated. Now, however, Griffin cabal and claiming confirmation letters were never sent, and the word files are manufactured, and therefore the findings of the panel are invalid. To his permission to give him a verbal warning and should mean their expulsion. Well, according to the AGAS, Advisory Council Conciliation and Arbitration Service, the important factor is that the disciplinary procedure took place, even you cannot deny that one. The letter matters not. In fact, the only way the decision of the panel could have been reversed was if formal grievance procedures have been raised by the guilty pair in reasonable time after the decision was made by CAS. Also say that the real that year later is most definitely not a reasonable time. So the pair should have been expelled on the 5th of December 2007, according to Griffin's verbal warning decision. The CMT Code of Conduct and the Constitution, BNP disciplinary procedure, and the advice of the ACAS. So there we go. That is the words of Kenny Smith. So when he says Mark Collett has matured since then, well, I guess that's what he means. Does that mean? What does that mean? How do you mature from being a paedophile? But then again, you know, we will need to go back to the stream and find out what if he actually means anything by that. 1 second there, lads. Let's get this back up. Okie dokie. Right.
And everything he told us about patriotic alternative, trying to avoid recruiting that guy, for talking about political activity, about having community building and all the other social.
What, that guy, that Fed posting guy? Oh, I think there's a guy in Chelmsford that's that guy right now. Waiting sentencing. You know, are you talking about those kind of guys? You know, the drunk guy, the guy who Fed posts, the guy who brings nationalism into disrepute. What do you mean? You know, that guy who takes 15-year-olds to hotel rooms and then matures later, and you can finally work with them. Yeah. What do you mean, Kenny? You're so wet behind the ears. You're so slippery, aren't you, with your
aspects. Sounded absolutely amazing, and I still think that is the way to go. And one of the first jobs I did was produce 4 documents for him, suggesting how I thought that should be structured and the way forward. Mark read them.
I mean, let's just take a moment here. The guy called you a paedophile, and so he hasn't recanted publicly his statement anywhere I can find, and you just let him into your organization. You just forgive a guy like that. Right? If that wasn't the case, if he was lying, right? Yeah, you would let him in, would you? Someone who hadn't recanted his statement publicly, because this became a public matter, really. Many in the party knew about these accusations, and it obviously caused a split, right? It was an internal party thing for the BNP. So, but you and then you take this guy in. Wow. How desperate are you? Like taking the guy that called you a pedo in, if it's not true. Like, ouch. Unless it is, and he's got something over you, and that's why you let him in. I wonder.
Agreed with him and basically said, let's start implementing these things. And we did that, pretty much straight away. And then sometimes there are incidents where he says, well, why are you doing that? And it's, well, have you read the document? Mark's on his way where he recognizes that he has certain talents and recognize other people have certain talents. I'm a back office guy. I'm the guy who does management and gets people moving. Mark's forte is front of house, the political stuff, the debating, and we complement each other well. I believe on that in the main. And the first thing that really we needed to do was sort out the security issue. In the first few months of me coming on board, I think 4 regions suffered attacks from left-wing agitators, and there was a general attitude that security was poor, appointments were poor, there was no guidance or structure, and I basically put that in place. I have functioned for the past 2.5 years as essentially the party manager. I was given the title National Admin Officer because that's what I had in the British National Party, so it just seemed simple. There was no real thought or effort put into it. But everybody's worked, we will tell you that I have worked in basically every sector.
Notice how Kenny doesn't mention James Shand, but neither of Mark or Kenny want to admit the James Shand incident, right? Totally omission, So what also I find interesting is Kenny mentioned attacks had been made. Well, they were kind of more in the summertime. I think I think the ones later on before the actual incident were around September. So it seems that Kenny was actually within PA behind the scenes for a bit longer than, you know, when I first met him was, when was it? September 2020? No, it would have been October time, about around that time, yeah. Would have been around October time, because he was the one who kind of convinced me to come back, right? You know, he said it was going to be professional, it was going to be, you know, things were going to change. You know, I was wrong on that, wasn't it? You know, gotta eat that crow there. You know, I left because it was just immature, fucking. You know, you were being told who you couldn't talk to. You know, you're not allowed to talk to these people. You're not allowed to talk to that person. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? This is like a cult. Like, you know. But I was like, okay, I'll give them another chance. So Kenny and, you know, the Scottish guys saying, oh, we're getting Scotland sorted, right? Thing would be in me and Simon and Blue Monday were asking for months, I believe, before this. Yeah. So that happened. But then, yeah, it's weird that they don't mention the James Shand incident. Wonder why that is. That was the reason why they brought in the old the new vetting system that Kenny's you know, will not budge on, right?
Of patriotic alternative, pushing it in whatever way possible. I have brought stability to the organisation with the security measures that I've brought in, with the vetting system, which hasn't always been popular. And I've never made any apologies for that. My speech at the spring conference, I can't remember, was it 2021, was very clear. I got an absolutely rousing reception for that. People appreciated it. And it was honest and bold and forthright. And we have implemented a system that people have turned up their nose at, but we've done it for a very good reason. When I came aboard Patriotic Alternative, the overall impression that I got, and Mark had warned me that was the case, was that there is a massive amount of fear in the nationalist movement at the moment. People are scared to show their face. People are scared to come out leafleting. It is an online world, and it's incredibly difficult to get people into the IRL movement. And
I mean, that might all have something to do with the fact that the BNP members list was leaked by the people you split away from, you know, with, you know.
Goal has always been, even in the British National Party, to build our people up, give them confidence in being ethno-nationalists and support to be effective in their local communities and in the organisation. And I don't think anybody can deny that. I've certainly done it with the officer corps and the activist corps. We have now got confidence regions all around the country where the majority of activists are all face out, name out, and absolutely confident in what they're doing. We've heard it on streams where Laura has said, you know, they no longer have fear turning up a place because we've created.
Right, they no longer have fear, but they still turn up in balaclavas and, you know, still look like fucking ragtag hooligans, don't they? They still look like Antifa, the people that, you know, the tending, you know, claiming to hide from. You know, they look like yobs, basically, like, you know, or they did, right? But again, there was certain people that called out that and said that didn't look very good, did it? When you're delivering leaflets in fucking full balaclavas and, you know, interacting with the public, it looked shit. The optics did look shit. Well, yeah, until recently, no one, you know, put their name out, and he's trying to attribute this to the vetting procedure. Is that the case? You know, is it, you know, is that the case that everyone there, you know, knows each other's real names now? Because during my time, I had a little spat with Kenny himself. You know, about the vetting procedure. I said to him, well, Why, you know, if you want my address and stuff, and how can I trust you with my information? How do I know that, you know, you are not like James Shant? How do I know that you're not a pedo, right? It's only one way with the trust system that Kenny's implemented. You have to trust them. That's it. You have to trust the officers, right? That they're not the crooked ones. When in all cases and all previous experience, that turns out to be the case, right? Just look at the BNP. Look at the higher position members who are into some really dodgy shit. Yeah, there we are. That says it all, doesn't it? You know. And you're asking lower members, lower members to give up all their details to one guy, a guy whose friends leaked the BNP members list. Oh, yeah, but you know, if only I'd known that at the time, right? More fool me, right?
A high trust, secure community, and it's not always perfect. That's for sure. There are some people who could be beneficial that were excluded in the early days, but that is something I think was worth the sacrifice to build that high energy, high endeavor community that was confident, and we have achieved that. We've recently talked about implementing a membership system, which again is a development for myself, where we had talked about loosening.
Oh, finally, PA are going to get some members. You know, it's no longer will there be a discrepancy of who the actual members are. No longer will Schrodinger's box be left unopened. We will finally see the dead cat inside, right? You know, members, they're finally going to have members. So, you know, when now they're getting members, I guess that you know, is that in retroactive respect, or is this just you know, potentially provide a out for a certain court case that's happening in 2 weeks' time? Is there a potential reason why you want members all of a sudden? I mean, he'll go on to mention that the members system was started 6 months ago, right? Supposedly. What happened 6 months ago? A certain man got extradited, I believe, to prison in Chelmsford for 2 counts of propagating terrorist materials. Hmm? I wonder if that was a reaction to that. So one can claim that that certain you know, is he an ex-member? Is he a member still? He's no longer a part of it because hey, he's not on the members list, right? It's not going to save you.
Some of these things, and these are things were to be discussed and in progress with it within the RO group in consultation with our regional councils. And we've talked about doing a website revamp. One of the biggest complaints we have is that the organisation is not driven politically. We don't have any proper political direction. You know, we're an ethno-nationalist organisation talking about the politics of the day, but there isn't actually focus on us being seen as a real opposition in this country. We don't.
What do you mean, Kenny? What do you mean? Hold on there, Kenny. Oh, well, that website is full of great political content. I mean, just I mean, if you can't tell I'm being sarcastic, but just look at fucking Kai Moros as an example. Great political content right there. What do you mean you're not a political organization? Your focus isn't on political. What are you on? What are you on about, mate? You've got Kai Moros there talking about race wars and shit. Yeah.
Talk about the issues of the day most of the time. You go on our website, you don't even realise that we're a mass activist group until we started putting real pressure on in December. You wouldn't have been able to tell that. So there have been a lot of things that have been a problem for officers. There's the website, the lack of political direction, lack of political focus, the lack of progress on becoming a registered political party, any support for people who want to do community politics. The membership of the vetting seems to be a constant source of conflict, where that is want to be relaxed and exemptions made for people who don't commit to the organisation and jeopardise the high trust that we've got. Communication with the organisation is terrible. There are people who have got massive responsibility who aren't even on board the organisation, who've never done in general vetting.
Oh, I wonder who that is. Is that one Sven Longchance? Is that guy? He's pretty involved with the organisation, but I don't know if he's actually a part of it, is he? Who could you mean by that? Who would be who the members would that be? Alex Davies? He's in prison now. He's an ex-NA member. He had contributions. Was he involved? We're on about Nativist Concern. I don't know if he's been vetted. He's a good friend of Mark. Euro. Wonder if he's been vetted. Yeah, he makes a good point. There's quite a few people I'd suspect that haven't been vetted, who haven't had a home visit, right? Who've skipped the system. Again, our old friend Chris Kearns, he never was vetted, but he had a huge role in the organisation. He was their fitness officer, right? Fitness and mental health officer, as the official title. He never had a home visit, I believe. Yeah, I think Kenny's right on this, right?
The two chaps who had control of the website for much of the time haven't even done their IDs. They're just friends of Mark.
I can see the frustration. Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? Friends of Mark. Yeah, you don't like that, do you, Kenny? They're not your pawns, are they, Kenny? It's kind of probably why you shut them all out of their groups. What groups you managed to set up, eh? Interesting, isn't it? It's probably why you wanted the deciding vote as party manager, right? In the offer they gave you, eh? You wanted that deciding vote, so you can remove certain people and put your own little capos in, eh? Yeah.
So lots of the developments that we've been asking to do and get changed and more of a focus that would help us as an organisation haven't happened. For 1.5 years we've been asking for progress on the website, and we've not been allowed to have that. Recently, 2 ROs who are skilled at websites and coding were added to that team, but still we couldn't do the updates we wanted straight away. We keep having to fight tooth and nail to get little bits of progress, and things that get promised to us don't happen.
I mean, it's a bit bizarre, isn't it? Why are you having to fight these things? I mean, here's Mark saying he wants to be a political party. It's really bizarre, isn't it? I wonder if there's more to this. I wonder if there's the pushback is more, or if it's basically just a cost thing. They're complacent. They've got it to a decent standard. It doesn't look like someone's just ripped off a UFO blog from the fucking early 2005. It's presentable. It's got flashy graphics. But that's all you need. It's got a donate button and a contact thing. For more donations. So what else? Why would you want to develop that, Kenny? Why would you want to cause more work for them?
You won't be aware that in December, we actually started the change to the website. It was agreed at the regional council meeting in October. We also agreed to introduce membership at that point, and the new website was supposed to be finished in December, but access hadn't been given to the officers and the teams that were needed for that until very, very recently. Membership failed to be put in place as well. We set a new deadline of April. That was missed as well for both things. So in January, after some consternation and a bit of an explosion with Mark, I tendered my resignation privately to Mark.
Oh, January, fucking hell.
Persuaded me not to do it and to carry on, and made promises things would change. We implemented things like he was going to speak to 2 of the regional organisers a month to start getting to know people, because the biggest one I think the major problem for me mostly in why Mark thinks that there is a divide is because he just makes no effort to work with his team. He does not know his regional organisers, doesn't hardly partake in the regional organisers chat, and he doesn't know them.
No shit. He doesn't know them. He doesn't care. All he wants. No way. No. This is fascinating. He doesn't care. Oh, it's a lofty position. How dare you intrude upon Mark Collett on his pedestal up there. He doesn't want your riffraff and your questions. No, he needs that silver silver shekel to just keep rolling in. Questions, that's your job, Kenny. You do that. Just as long as the shekels keep coming in, mate. He doesn't care. He needs that mint condition Mario Kart. Fucking from off eBay. He has to have that, otherwise he's not going to be happy, is he? So yeah, I can understand why you're frustrated, Kenny. It seems that his attitude is one of he is this lofty figure that cannot be reached. I mean, who would have known that, I wonder.
The same with officers. We've had a councillor recently appointed in Wales, and a week later, despite it being posted in the regional organised chat, he wasn't aware of it, and he made no effort to contact that man and congratulate him, thank him, speak to him experience, try and see if we could roll out any help and guidance around the rest of the country to make that happen. We've got 3 councillors in Patriotic Alternative, 2 in Scotland and 1 in Wales, and I'm pretty sure most of you don't even know that's the case. That's ridiculous.
Nope. No one knew about that. Wow. So you've got 3 councillors ready to go and you've done nothing with them. Wow. That's well, that just says it all, doesn't it? You don't want to be a political party at all, do you?
Because the British Democrats have got 6, and they're never done crying about it. There is no focus on that. We have had several failed attempts at getting registered at a political party, and I'm not going to lie. That is down on the main down to the Electoral Commission. They are doing everything they can. We've had a face-to-face meeting with them. They're doing everything they can to stop us getting registered, and it's petty and it's ridiculous. In fact, I said the other night, I have never been in a meeting with civil servants, and I had been a councillor for 12 years myself previously, community councillor, and dealt with lots of civil servants, all the piece, and previously met my role in the BNP as well. And I've never met one like the head of that team who signs up for political parties for the way she was avoided dealing with anything or answering anything straight. It was absolutely pretty disgusting and demoralising to a degree. I can see why. But part of the problem that we have in Patriotic Alternative is that Laura she's got no interest in being a political party. She has said that. She sits on the National Advisory Council with 5 other people, and herself and Sam have taken no part in that process and helping to get us registered. Mark himself, by I think.
Oh wow! So there we go. The National Advisory Council. Let me guess. That's Mark, Kenny, Steve Blake, Sam, Laura. Who's the 6th man then?
Time the 4th refusal basically almost threw his arms up and didn't want to continue, and has admitted several times that he is only continuing to pursue that goal because myself and Steve Blake wanted it. The latest failure to get registered is a massive source of frustration for me, because it deals around with the way Mark has got this limited company, which is definitely needed in my view, because it protects all officers in the organisation from stop being sued. But the level of secrecy around things is ridiculous. Steve Blake was appointed as National Treasurer for the application for the website, and still hadn't been on hadn't been added to that limited company bank account, which, according to the Electoral Commission, has to be intrinsically tied to Patriotic Alternative, the political organisation.
Very interesting. So yes, it seems that the company in itself is stopping the political party, because that bank account is for the company, I guess, not the political party, which is very interesting. So in one aspect, they've shot themselves in the foot by becoming a limited company. That's a very interesting thing, yeah. And why the secrecy? Why is Steve not been added to it? Is it because there might be discrepancy with the income and the funds? I wonder. I wonder if some tomfoolery is afoot. That's the reason why only two people's eyes can ever grace that bank account, eh? It makes you wonder how Laura and Sam, got that nice swanky new place and all that furniture.
And I think applications 5 and 6 failed primarily because we weren't getting that information. And Mark also told them that we have only one central accounting unit, the limited company account, which the treasurer wasn't on. So there are lots of problems that are.
Oh yes. See, this makes me think that there are some financial irregularities in that account, and the reason why there's been a very slow process to add anyone, even the treasurer himself, who's been appointed for 3 months, to that account. Well, maybe the sums don't add up. If he had access to the sheet, I wonder if the tax man would be interested in that account. Do you think?
Exasperated because communication isn't there. They take no involvement with the regional team, with the management, and then when things are required, we find it difficult to progress them because they're not helpful, or they think that people are kind of prying too much. We bring complaints up the chain, and sometimes they're accepted and say, "Oh, we'll deal with them." Arrangements are made, and then nothing happens. There's action points go on at every meeting, and 3 months down the line, we're going, "Well, you keep refusing to deal with them, but we just take them off because you're not doing them." And say, "Yeah." Other times they're dismissing complaints to us, and saying that's actually not the case. Some of our ROs are getting accused of doing things that they're not, and it's become very clear that no attention is paid to what the
what people get accused of shit they didn't do. Oh, damn. I wish there was only someone who could relate to that. Oh wait, yeah, I think there's a guy. His name's Fraser Hudson.
These guys do. One of our regional organisers recently relayed that he just organised one of the biggest demos P's ever done, and Mark said he didn't realise who he even was until he met him on the day.
I know who this guy is, right? Yeah. From my understanding, this is the guy who did Skegness, was it? The one in which Alex Yerbury's group split away after that point. I believe that this is actually the guy who organised that event, right? It was one of the biggest events they'd had, yeah. And there are shall we say, receipts out there that suggest that this was the guy Mark was talking about. You didn't know who he was. Yeah, that's that event. That's that guy.
Things like that are extraordinary, and it's little wonder that our officers had such a hard job. One of the reasons that triggered me to tender my resignation in January was that over the course of the previous 6 months, I think I persuaded 4 ROs not to quit. We had 59 officers.
It's been falling apart for a while then, right? Holy shit, the band-aid's truly like bursting at the seams, it seems. This was a long time coming then, right?
I think it was in spring 2021. We're still only just round that mark because we've lost some people, but there is a growing apathy and a growing frustration in patriotic alternative that we are not got political leadership, we're not getting political direction, and that's become a massive source of frustration. My letter, coming down to my letter and up to date, when I submitted that, it was down to absolute frustration at yet another attack on the vetting system, and a desire for them basically to say our community groups, which are our most high trust groups, should have people given a free pass to join them if Mark or other people just want to give them a thumbs up. And our people were very opposed to that. I was a bit dismayed because we had made an agreement that we are going to relax that system to a degree when we bring in the new membership system. The website was to have a new Play Your Part, Contact Us page that essentially gave people the choice to say whether they were a member or an activist, or a member activist. And greater contact details are required to be an activist, like a telephone number, so we can try and actually get in touch, you speak you, and get you out to do things. And things were looking exciting. We were planning on transitioning the community chats into basically these activist chats, and people would still have to do the IDs to get in there. But earning members, there would be no requirements. There wouldn't even be the need for IDs at all. So you could have people just pay your £36, become a member, and that was you in Patriot Alternative.
£36? What's that? £3 a month? Yeah, £3 a month. Wow. Damn.
And with that, the idea had been muted and not finalised. That we just do away with general chats and deal with these people via email and newsletters, and make sure that once a month we always put on an activity in every region that people from general could attend. And by the same token, the guys in community who value the high trust community could decide they didn't want to come to if they didn't want to jeopardize themselves. We've got lots of people who are in the conference community who have got sensitive jobs or families and like that, and they want to be in a community that's high trust. So that would allow them to pick and choose.
The problem with your high trust vetting procedure is that, like, Red Flare keep getting your details at every conference you've got. So how I don't see this high trust. People are worried about their jobs. Like, for some reason, Red Flare turn up to every one of your events. It's a bit weird, that, don't you think?
But it was basically been forced on us that if Mark, Laura, or whoever gave the thumbs up, we were to elect them in. So I was exasperated that this had come in at a time when we're weeks away from launch for a system that is going to relax.
And as I said previously in the previous part one, it does seem that they want to create a two-tier system. With the plebs and the on Mark's side, they want to create a two-tier system where the plebs give up all their details, go on a list, and the friends can just walk in, not have any of the details stored. If the membership list leaks, then everyone else gets that, but not the people on it, eh? Not Mark's friends, huh? Very interesting.
exit and give more of a degree of things to happen. And I was just fed up. I had officers telling me, that's it, I'm going. And I thought, right, I'm just going to do it. I need to force this ahead because they're not listening. They keep breaking their agreements. And I would hope that they would come and see sense. The next day, I went up the hills with an old friend of mine, an old political friend of mine, just cleared my head, spoke to Mark at 8:10 in the morning at the Foothills, told him what was happening, and that was grand. All things sorted out. And he told me he didn't want to quit. I said, well, I don't really want to quit. I need this sorted because I can't do it anymore. I want you to, if you can't sort this, I want you to accept my resignation. He said, no, I definitely don't want you to quit. We can sort this. They spoke with the ROs, promised them a meeting, didn't deliver. He said he wanted a meeting with me, Mark, and Laura first, but then constantly refused to have that meeting until the Monday. I think I did that on the Wednesday, or was the Tuesday actually, or the Wednesday, and whatever date the 12th was. Let me just see what date was the 12th. 12th was Wednesday.
Kenny, I think we've got a hand raised from Edwin from Westmids. I'm not sure if he wants if he's got something he wants to ask you about.
I think I'd rather just get through this bit first and then do the questions. There's
okay.
Make notes if you want to.
We've been going at 26 minutes. I'm just conscious that we might start forgetting the questions. That's all.
It's fine. Well, they should take a pen and paper. I've only been talking for about 20. So
all right.
Basically, they refused to meet until the Monday. We had an hour and a half chat where they basically told me that I was being demoted as national admin officer. My role was going to be capped. I was only going to be processing donations and membership. I could have a support role helping regions, but Laura was going to be installed as party manager.
Oh no!
Mark.
Oh no! Don't take my job, Kenny. Kenny's like, don't take my job. That's my job. I wanted to be party manager. I was the chosen one. My working title. I thought I was the party manager. Kenny. Oh, the absolute knives, the backstabbing that's gonna go going on here. It's like, no, we'll put all Mark's friends in without any vetting. we'll make Laura the party manager, even though she has no interest in becoming a political party. She didn't want to stand in elections. She said that herself. She didn't want to have to put her address out there, right? It's too funny. And then she's going to be the party manager. Oh.
And Laura were to get access to all the regional council chats. The new vetting system was going to be actually that Mark and Laura were going to put anybody they wanted into community chats. There was going to be no bar to that for them. They only wanted full vetting for officers. There was also various other demands about things about bank accounts.
I can't have that, man. We can't have vetting only for officers. But wait, hold on. That doesn't make sense because it's kind of the opposite, right? Isn't it the opposite? Mark and that, if they're friends and that, like, surely they get a free pass, right? But okay, say they only want vetting for officers. Kenny can't have that. I mean, like, that membership list is going to leak sometime, right? And if all you've got on that piece of paper is a few officers, that's not much. The security services aren't going to like that. That's poor work, Kenny. Poor job you're doing there, buddy. You need as many people on those lists as possible.
Accounts, they've been these bank accounts yet. They were wanting them on. They basically were disgruntled because these officers had united together to support what I had said. My letter was one that basically told them things have come to an absolute crunch. These officers are so frustrated. These are complaints that have come from every region. This isn't just Kenny Smith saying, this is coming from them, and these officers are absolutely frustrated. You need to communicate with them, and that wasn't happening. We then, we negotiated. We tried to get things sorted. There was agreements made, and we had a second meeting the following day. Parameters were changed. An agreement Mark and me were later on that night was changed. They admitted that I've effectively been party manager for 2.5 years. On the Monday night, they basically said, yes, I would be renamed as party manager, and we made some resolutions, certain things, and then
you're not even a political party. How can you have a party manager if you're not a political party? Oh, are we just playing knights and damsels and fucking fairy tales? It's serious. God. Party manager. I'm the party manager, and I have no party. That's great.
And on the Tuesday, they completely changed it again, and that has happened repeatedly, and it's a major source of frustration. By the time we got to the regional council meeting on the Tuesday at 7 p.m, it was very clear that they were basically again moving the goalposts and basically going to curve me. They didn't, but they basically said, because I attended a meeting on the Saturday night at the request of the ROs who had penned this letter, that I had basically effectively led an insurrection.
Kenny, you kicked them out of their chats. You kicked the leaders out of the chat groups. You stopped them talking to people. I'd say that's pretty insurrectionist, to be honest. Like, if they're changing the deal on you, it's because of the actions that you took, right? Don't forget, you're the one who kicked you were on kicking people out of these chats, supposedly. Like, so it's, they're being a bit cautious, inviting you back, putting you in your place.
Absolute nonsense. I have only ever had the best interests of patriotic alternative at heart. I've always had Mark's back, and
that's hilarious. What about in 2007? Did you have his back? Oh, Kenny.
The guys here, I think, will tell you that. I've always been very supportive of the core of this organisation, who are the officers and the activists. They're the beating heart of this organisation and the most important people in this organisation.
Oh, sick burn there. Sick burn.
For me, and if they are disgruntled and unhappy, I will speak up. I'm a very forthright guy. I say things when other people don't, but I am also immensely loyal to this organisation. But Mark thinks,
so loyal, you foment an insurrection and lock the leaders out of their chat so they can't talk to anyone, and you pen a letter of no confidence and say, mass resignations. Yeah, that's loyalty, isn't it?
Seems to think that because I was expressing the concerns to these guys that I have been disloyal, and he basically, as that meeting went on, it was clear none of the changes were going to be implemented that the folk wanted, particularly in political direction.
Oh, but they agree on 95% of everything, guys. Remember that number. They agreed on 95% of everything.
Community politics, in vetting, and the also in my involvement with the regions, which has been primarily one of training, mentorship. I'm
training, as in I'm going to put my capos in. Yes, I'm going to put my capos into certain positions. Hey, Chris from Patriotic Talk, Chris Mitchell, right? Hey, guess what? This guy's a wife beater. can you remove him? Like, he needs to take a break. Oh, hey, I'll just put my buddy Steve Blake in there. He's now the RO, right? Hey. Training and mentorship. Yeah, okay. That old chestnut.
The man who's created the structure, the template for the organisation, the guidance, all the rest of it that has made the Confident Regions. And he basically gave me an ultimatum: take a demotion. You're on probation for 6 months, and afterwards we'll make you party manager. A job I've been doing for 2.5 years. And if Mark is satisfied that he can trust you again, he'll start paying you for it. It's utter nonsense. There have been.
To be honest, Mark's in the right here to like do that. If when you lead an insurrection, basically, yeah, I think Mark actually is in the right to be a bit cautious here. Like he's, he learned from his mistake, did he? He gave you the free reign to set up these groups, get all this stuff, as you wanted it. Mentor these people, train these people. Air quotation marks here, guys. Yeah, he he now wants to make you bend the knee. Kiss his ring. It's and if you're a good boy, Kenny, once you've given all of the shit back to him, once you've given all the codes and the passwords and whatever else and the membership list and the money, then yeah, and maybe down the line they'll pay you, and yeah, and obviously, fair play to Kenny. He realizes this is bullshit. They're not going to do that for him. So once they've got regained control, they'll cook him out. Like, yeah, fair play. I mean, that's so it's fucking knives and knives at dawn out here, isn't it? Like the backstabs never fucking stop.
Been some horrific accusations flying about at the moment. That that I was demanding a promotion. That's not the case. They're also saying that I've been doing a power grab, a control grab. That's not the case either.
You logged them out of their chats, Kenny. How many times I'd say you logged them out of their chats? How is that not a power grab?
Many of the things that I'm involved in are things that haven't been done by Mark and the leadership team. We lost donations in the organisation a long time ago. Nothing was happening, and I decided I was going to make that happen again. I asked Mark for help with a business plan and CV so we could get that done. He didn't do it. I got the help of Ant and some others, and I launched a small business of my own, got that up and running, Positive Admin Services, and got the bank account, got the payment processor, and we got it up and running again. And I negotiated with Mark because I had financial issues back in February that for some support. It didn't happen. When we got that up and running in August, we agreed that I would get 15% of any donations come through, and that's what's been working. Now that that doesn't mean I'm living high on the hog. The donations that we get through have been absolutely minimal, really. I think they have ranged from roughly what was it now? Yeah, from 1 month in October, it was £44.85 was my commission. That has risen to at its highest about 180 quid. So it's
so 15% is £44. So that's 90p day. That would be a bit over Yeah, but so Kenny 1 month worked for £1.50-ish, maybe a bit less a day, right? Yeah, £1.50 a day. Holy shit, man! Like, damn. Maybe a bit more, yeah. Actually, yeah, a little bit more than 150 a day. Damn, that's slavery, man. Damn, 15%, and then. Yeah, I can see why, Kenny, you're pissed. Yeah, fucking hell, like £1.50 a day, like terrible. I'd see a lawyer about that. That's you're an employee of Unlimited company here, mate. You're getting a wage there. Why aren't you? Why aren't you bringing us up with trading standards? That's slavery. Yeah, that's for a man of your age. You should be on the minimum wage at least. There, jeez.
It's not much. The whole process of doing it is quite cumbersome and poor, because we have to basically hide how we get donations. So we can't use a normal
Hiding donations. Why?
payment processor. There's at least 2 encryption steps involved in it, and it's quite a long process. It's not just a case of putting on the website and the payment goes through. Each process probably takes about 10-15 minutes to do.
Right. Okay. So each process takes about 10 minutes to do, and there's 2 steps. It sounds like 2 or 3 steps. There's 2 encryption processes, right? So it goes from one through the encryption to another, then through the encryption again to the final one. So why are they, why are they doing it that way? What's the problem there? Like, surely, why are they transferring money between these accounts like that? I wonder why the Electoral Commission has problems with the financial bank accounts of your organization. If you're sending it through different accounts like that, that's bizarre. I mean, you said you set up a payment processor, and there seems to be no reason. But why are you trying to hide this? Who are you trying to hide it from? Is the question. Why would you need to hide it? Utterly bizarre. That sounds like you're trying to. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that could be like anything, right? Money laundering. Who knows? It's a bit when you have to hide it. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's see what he says.
So, but the donations aren't massive, and
aren't massive. What does that? Aren't massive isn't a number. So what isn't aren't massive? Is that £100, £10, pound? What isn't massive? Like, what's again?
that was done a company from the commission that I get. I also cover the server out of that with my money. That has done things that we've done with the welcome bot, the Cheerio bot, super admin, all these things.
Oh, right, there we are then. The super admin then was Kenny's baby. So that the chat bot as well, that they set up all these comment sections. These are paid for by the sounds of it. And yeah, so when you say, Kenny, when they're accusing you of fomenting insurrection, and you have literally got the reins on the chat groups and comment sections of their apparatus, and you control the who's allowed to comment, then yeah, why are they wrong in that regard? But it's nice of you to use your £44 a month to pay for those bots, I guess, right? So there is that. You're very charitable.
They are done and built through that company, so they're not actually part of Patriot Alternative.
Interesting as well that he's saying he set up a separate company. That it's like, maybe this is another reason that they have problems with your finances. Kenny's saying this is his company, but it's a company set up within PA to support PA and give donations to PA, right? it's not exactly an easy. I mean, it could be like franchising, right? So, and this is interesting. This could be considered maybe embezzlement then, if you're not going to give the money back. Hint, hint. That's coming later. So yeah, it's a question of around who owns the money then in those accounts. If you're saying it's an account in support of PA that's funneling money, going through different encryption processes, and now you're trying to say it's your private thing. That's a bit bizarre. How many companies, other than ones who have shell, it's a shell company, you financially, use these apparatus. Again, doesn't look good on your, public image, does it?
We operate as a third-party service supporting PA, and I get.
Why are you a third party? Why has it been set up like that? Is it because, just in case, Kenny, if it was, if you were in for the cause, if you were loyal, wouldn't you have done that for PA? Set it under PA? So why are you setting up that way? So I'm guessing only you can have access to that amount of money in the donations in it and the financial sheet, right? So there is a question here. Could Kenny have then been siphoning funds off the donations that they did receive, and he was getting more than his 15%? Potentially, if only Kenny had access to that account. Something to think about.
Commission for that. All our money sent to PA, so that is a separate entity, very much as the same as the way Mark does for various projects as well. I want to.
What? So Mark has other projects and they are separate bank accounts. I'm starting to see why the Electoral Commission might have a problem with your accounting.
As much as I am really hurt and disappointed that things come to this, I want to reassure everybody that I did all I could to ensure a resolution could be met. During these past week, some of these ROs, I've also stopped them from quitting as well. I think Sai confirmed that there were, in the course of the past week, I stopped 4 ROs quitting, and we still, up until that meeting on Tuesday, believe we could have a resolution and fix everything, internally and keep it within the officer core. Sadly, that hasn't happened.
No.
And the concerns of 6 regional organisers, 32 officers, I think 36 officers signed it, 32 of them have left, out of an officer base of only 54 officers. That is very sad, but it shows you that the people involved were absolutely frustrated and not something they did lightly. We have all given some people 3 years, some people 2.5, some people less, but blood, sweat and tears, money, time, effort. The officers that step up are the most hardworking people in the organisation. Usually, there's some fabulous activists as well, but urging. But these guys, step at officers, put themselves their heads above the parapet and in the firing line. They don't do this lightly. We're all fighting for our people. We're not fighting to be leaders or to be at odds with anything. We're fighting for people, but we're absolutely frustrated. We cannot do the job that we're here to do, which is win for our people. And the direction and the leadership isn't there fundamentally, and that is what has led to this situation. People feel that they cannot go on any further, and that is incredibly sad. I don't know if there is much more to say in that. I made an agreement with Mark that there'd be no hard feelings, no friction. That does not actually seem to be the case. The smear and the stories going out about me and some of the other ROs are not very nice already.
Well, Kenny, this is Mark's MO, isn't it? If you're in direct competition with Mark Collett, or if you leave the reservation, You know, you go off reservation, you know, suddenly you're hearing things from people about, you know, certain things about your character maybe, or, you know, certain bits of information maybe getting leaked, or, you know, things like that. It's funny that, you know, I know you're not above those kind of things, Kenny. You know, you sending people to people's doors at 7 in the morning. I know you're not, you know, above Mark here, but it's the actual fucking irony that you got the goal to then say, "Oh well, they're being nasty," when you well know that this is your MO and this is what you do. You know, both of you. You know, and as I say, this is going to be bloody in the end.
Seen that stuff happen in the past already. When myself and Steve were the brunt of that during the British National Party, and Mark was on the opposing side. I have also seen it within.
Oh, he's so close. You know, if someone had just said, "Well, hold on, what did you mean by that, Kenny?" You know, get him to address that one issue. You know, well, hold on, why were you on the opposing sides? You know, here again. Here we have an instance, just like before, where they're not really talking about. They're talking in generalized terms, like there's no specific details, but they'll say, "Oh, we were on the opposite sides." You know, well, oh, what were the sides? You know, Mark and Steve were doing the same thing. They weren't specifically talking about, you know, specific details. They were like glossing over it, you know, because if people found out what actually happened back then, yeah, I'm not sure if any of these people know, or if they, you know, have been told, "Oh, it's just Antifa," or you know, mild discontent. When you can literally yourself go and read the words, you know, signed by Mr. Smith on, you know, the blog that he authored, you know. So it's just interesting, you know, they're not really ready to start, you know, the actual punch up. This is just the foreplay, you know. This is the foreplay bit.
Patriotic alternative with people that Mark falls out with get targeted, and everybody, I think most people here will know, I have always counselled for people to ignore detractors. Don't get involved.
It's also interesting. He mentions the oh, we're on the other side, and now we're talking about detractors. Is it because the detractors are telling you about the reason why you split up in the first place in the BNP days, why you broke off from the BNP? Are we not to believe the detractors, and we don't want drama? But anyway, thanks. You know, we're out here. You know, I guess this is a, you know, hi, it's me moment.
Involved with the supposed nationalists who keep sniping and attacking people. That's not my style. I don't want that now. I have urged.
That's rich, considering, you know, your busies and everything else, your infiltration of certain groups. Oh, it's that the irony is thick here, isn't it? You know, I don't want to do the drama, but yeah, you do the drama, don't you? You are fully involved in the drama. You know.
Here and elsewhere in Homeland, for people to take the moral high ground, don't rise to it. And I will repeat that again here. I am not interested in any feud with anybody from the other organisation. I want our people to focus on making Homeland a success, pursuing community politics, and as well as doing all the other social stuff. We want to build a community, but without local power, communities are nothing. You can't have a proper community if you don't control the levers of power in that community, and PA has put no effort whatsoever into achieving that. So that's really what we want to do here with Homeland. We want to be positive. I think we've got amazing people on board who were the people who basically built Patriotic Alternative. So I think with
quite literally in Kenny's case, with his training and mentorship.
That I'll wind it up. I've been speaking for a fair while. I make no apologies for that. There's a lot to get through, and I'm sure there's a massive amount of questions. I don't know, Ant, if there's any of the ROs who also want to say a piece for the questions, or whether you just want to go straight to questions.
I think we should get some questions out of the way. and I think ROs will chime
Get ready
in
for the spicy bit.
as they want to if they've got
It's gonna
something
get
to add,
spicy
really.
in here.
We'll go to, because he asked first, we'll go to Edwin, who is a username Mandelbrot set. I find him. How do I unmute him? Allow to speak. There you go. You can speak, Ed. You can speak now.
Oh, I see. I need to also unmute myself.
Yes,
Can you hear me all right now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go.
Perfect. Okay. So these questions you have already answered them privately, Kenny, but I suspect a lot of other people have the same questions, so I'll ask them here. Who in PA now has access to the national database?
The national, well, that depends what you mean by the national database. There is the main database is what is on the website. I know Mark, Laura, Sam, and Mark, Laura, Sam, can't remember. Steve Blake, all definitely have access to that. And I'm not sure if there are any others. I think that there are people, I don't want to name them. There's 2 other people back office who are not in any of the general or community groups who also have access to that. That is what's often referred to as the mailing list.
Accountability here, like, who are these people, like, you know, with sensitive data? Now, again, they're talking about the mailing list, so that's basically names and potentially, you know, email addresses, but I don't think that's the question he's asking, right? But again, like, who are those 2 people, right?
Regional organisers, as people know the way the system works, regional organisers and their teams gather the data and collect the IDs. These are then sent up the chain to me, and they delete them from their end. And that we have.
Do they though? Do they really delete them? Just saying. 2 guys turn up at your house at 7 in the morning. Did they really delete them?
An agreement that we have promised with Patriotic Alternative. We've given them all back, all the channels and chats. And
whoa, what, Kenny? You know, Mr. Kenny, I didn't start an insurrection. You gave them back all the channels and chats. Okay, you had access to them to begin with, right? You know, well, you know,
we have. We are going to deliver them. I think, I'm not sure if any of them have actually been gone yet, but we have an agreement. We're going to comply 100% with the Data Protection Act and send them these database back. Or I think Sam had a communication to most of the defectors today, the ROs, saying that he would accept them being deleted. So I think the likelihood is that they'll send up-to-date database to them as the fairest thing, and we'll do that. Mark and Laura, part of their thing was they were wanting ID stuff to be deleted, and that'll be done as well. There are there is the new membership system that hasn't been officially launched, but we've been doing it internally, taking details. And because that hasn't been launched, the page to sign up is actually a test page for the website. It's not the actual finished page. That's why it doesn't have the options yet for member or activist. And a lot of people have asked if they can have the membership application that they made recently refunded. And I think that's only fair to do that if they don't want to be part of the organisation. So, you know, get in touch with any of the officers. We can do that refund. And there's been a ton of data protection deletions going in as well, and they'll all be complied with as well.
And can you talk about the agreement that you've come to with regards to all of the regional bank accounts?
Yes, in a similar manner to PA Services, which is essentially a third party. I have promised Mark that I will send every penny from that is due to PA to Patriot Alternative. There's absolutely no question of that. Every donation and membership that goes through, that monies will go through on there. You know, obviously after the refunds are done, if it turns out, because I sent Mark £2,311 at the start on the 4th of April, if it runs over, they'll have to you know, if it ends up emptying out, they'll have to deal with any further refunds they can.
Wow, 2,000. Was it 100? Wow, that's a lot. You know, that's is that with or without his 15% cut? Because that's, yeah, that's what, 2,400-ish pounds. So Kenny took 250 quid there, you know, and that 2,000's going into Mark and Laura's bank account. Wow.
Come in, and you know, I've also said the refunds, I'm not interested in if I take a loss of processing funds, I want to be fair and give everybody the opportunity to get that. So I'm not going to play funny with that. But they're not getting PA services. That's my private business bank account that's also connected to Claymore Books and administrative work I do. It is not PA property. The same with
well, that's up for debate, though, isn't it? Ah, that is interesting. This could be a legal issue, to be honest, and maybe Mark and Laura maybe pursue it, because technically, like, if that bank account is, it's, you know, siphoning funds to Mark and Laura's official bank account, you know, of the company, there may be a case for that actually being property of said company. If all the thing it's ever done is, you know, provide money to that account. Yeah, and Claymore Books has been promoted by PA at their events and on their website, along with the candle stuff from Clean and Pure and soap and whatever, you know, soap business. Technically, that may be considered a subsidiary of Patriotic Alternative, just like Laura Towler's tea brand is, right? Unless they're going to claim that Laura's tea brand also is not, unless that's one of the side projects that Kenny mentioned here. The legality around that would be something to look into, actually. Company law on that. So, yeah, we'll continue then with that.
Bank accounts that have been used regionally. These have been set up by activists in regions. None of them in the Patriotic Alternative name, not one of them. Most regions have operated with 2 bank accounts, and none of them are PA ones. Some of them will say PA Scotland, for example, but my understanding is that bank account was launched using Positive Action Scotland or something similar, and the constitution used in it is not a PA one. The same applies to the community bank account.
Whoa, wait, hey, whoa, what's this? So you set up a shell company to then provide basically funds to another company. Yeah, that's not dodgy at all, is it? Like, if you're then, you know, changing the name of that, like, to PA Scotland, because it says PA Scotland. I think someone's gonna have a field day looking at this. I think yours truly might need to take a look at this.
They don't even have PA names and are not connected. These are deliberate things are done. It's also important to note that on the Electoral Commission applications, Mark has advised the Electoral Commission that Patriotic Alternative has only one central accounting unit, one bank account, which is the Patriotic Alternative Limited, which only himself and Laura are privy to. That's where I send the monies to when I do them bank transfers. And you know, I know on Monday Steve Blake wasn't on that. He told me so, but on Tuesday he was claiming that he'd been added. I'm not sure I actually believe that, but by his own admission, PA patriotic alternative has one bank account, and these are not. However, I am aware that the local teams, if there are any money in them and people want if I think one of the teams told us that they had like 80 quid in it, and they speak to the people who make the donations, because in most cases it's not very many people who are putting into these bank accounts, but if these people want monies transferred, they will try and figure that out if possible. But most regions work on a tight shoestring budget. I wouldn't imagine that there's money to go, and there is absolutely no obligation to it. That would be a goodwill gesture, and I don't think it's a necessary one. Certainly, for me, goodwill has to come in both directions.
So, okay, hold on. Right, let's figure. Well, okay, that's interesting. So, all these little subgroups have their own bank accounts. They're sending it to this PA services account set up by Kenny that's linked to his Claymore books. That then are sending it on to PA's official bank account. That they have claimed to the EC. That is their one and only bank account, right? Okay. So, and if they're earning 2,500 a month, right? That's just from the membership stuff and the donations to the local groups. Where is the money going from Mark's streams? Is that going into his personal bank account? Because and then what about the donations through the website? Is that also donations into the website? I'm guessing that might be true. Yeah, so again, like, how much are they earning per year? There's 25,000, right? Ish, 30 grand a year in going into the PA coffers. So maybe we could look up the assuming obviously that it's the same every month, right? It may be less or whatever, okay, but so we can check this now, this amount of money, with the company's house to see their financial, if it's been updated, and see if there may be any irregularities here, I guess. Maybe even use a freedom of information request, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting. That's something to look into.
May I just interject for a second here, Kenny? I disagree with you when you said it would be a goodwill gesture. I think it would be wholly unethical to pass money from regional accounts to PA Limited, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell everyone on the call why. Those accounts were set up by our community members to pool funds for our activities, and that might be social activities, they might be political activities. If our activists are coming with us into Homeland, it's their money. It's their money, and they have a right to say where it goes.
Okay, so that clears things up a bit more then, right? Okay, so it sounds like the regional groups are, as maybe we've understood in the past, they are now being fundraising themselves. So if none of that money then is going into the services account means the money is only coming from the donations on the website. So, none of that money that's actually being donated to PA through the website in the services account is actually going to the regional groups by the sounds of it. It sounds like the regional groups have got to scrimp and save, and it's been donated between each other per month, to do their own activities. So all that money, that £2,000 that Kenny mentioned, is going straight into the PA coffers, while giving nothing out, really, unless there's we see some financial statements here. How can we be sure that money is actually being given out? Because it doesn't sound like the regional groups are getting anything. Right? It sounds like they've got to pay for their own banners and stuff by the looks of it. It's a bit of a grift, wouldn't you say?
If we've already said to everybody, if you want a refund, you can have one. That's the way we've all approached this problem. So if they feel they're PA until they die, and last week they put 50 quid in, they can have that 50 quid back. But what we won't do is gather all the money from these activists who have put their faith in us to spend that money on their behalf and keep it on their behalf, and then issue it back to Patriotic Alternative Limited. That's not happening. And
Oh, well, hold on. So if they put that money in on, to, PA, surely that is then a donation to PA. They can't then take it from them and give it to a competing group now that you're establishing, right? That's stealing, right? That's not your money technically if you've given it to that company. So yes, you should give it back. But again, this will need more clarification, and I'm gonna have to need to look into this. But this is a quagmire here that they're getting themselves into off the start.
It would be completely unethical to do so, and I imagine that they've already been saying, "We want the money. We want the money. Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that?" We're not doing it because it's wrong. Simple as. There was another thing from Edwin.
The only one who decides what is wrong is the law, is the British Crown, right? I'm sorry to say it, but if the British Crown says that the legal system says that you're in the wrong, right? You can't just decide this.
That was about the databases. We've also said to all of our activists, if you want your data deleted from the database before we hand it back to PA, tell us and we'll do it straight away. So I've just checked the little poll that's in my East Midlands chat, and 75% have said they want it deleting. Please make sure, East Midlands people, that you answer it and tell me, because I don't want to have to chase you. And I think the rest of you guys in the other regions, you need to be speaking to your regional organizer about what you want. I've always had complete faith in the data security of PA because Kenny was managing it. Because I know Kenny, he's a professional guy, he knows this stuff backwards. I don't have a great deal of faith in what will happen going forward. And I will say this, and I will say this, I wouldn't be surprised if something happens in the future and then they blame it on us, even though we've handed it to them in a professional manner and said,
Yeah. Are you covering your ass for the leaks, supposed leaks that the Sunday Times have of the data? The membership list, according to one Nick Griffin. Again, this is unconfirmed, but according to Nick Griffin, the Sunday Times, good old friends of Mark and Laura, Dominic Raab, no doubt, have not Dominic Raab, fucking Dominic Kennedy, have has a members list. Are you
here you go, crack on.
I was not aware that was even an option, so that's very good to hear. I'd certainly like my data deleted from that. Yeah, that's all of my questions really. I'll let someone else go.
You know what, mate? I liked my data deleted as well, but didn't happen. Just saying.
Anybody else with their hand up?
Right. I think we've got someone in it called Jinx next, so I'll just find that person and allow to speak. You can now speak, Jinx, if you if you want yourself.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. No, I was just curious as to fund transparency and how that'll be going forwards. For example, I spoke to Jamie about it, and he said there's a limited account. You can look it up on the Gov website, and I did. But I didn't see a great deal other than the fact that it was registered. Like if it was say Homeland got 2K in a year, would we see the breakdown of that 2K? Like certain regional officers have done this and we'll be setting up this, so we'll put 100 to that guy, 100 to that guy, and they'll use that to do this. We throw 20 quid at this guy because he's driving everyone around. We give petrol money, you know, that sort of thing. Complete transparency with the funding.
We haven't even got a bank account at the moment, Jinx. we
We're
literally started on I think Tuesday night at midnight, guess where we need to do something, and then Wednesday we figured out what we're going to do. Came up with a name. Today came up with a logo. I think.
What do you mean you don't have a bank account? You got several bank accounts by the sound of it.
Everything. You know, they might be telling people that this rebellion's been 4 months in the planning. They've been plotting this. Nothing kind. We are started for absolute scratch here. But I think I know you haven't been involved in your region too long, but anybody you ask any of the officers or any activists in your region, and we operate with full. We have operated. The people, the officers are with us now, have operated with full transparency.
Yes.
You're in Scotland. We have a community account. Anybody who is paying into that community account gets to see that these statements, if they so wish. There has never been a hiding. All we will do is, well, at one point we would hide the names, but there's such a high trust society now, we don't even bother hiding the names. In terms of the count that would be more openly used and for general, that we will redact people's names and stuff like that. But again, there was a similar thing. But I don't think ever with the general account has anybody ever asked to see it. I think we have got a community that is high trust, and when people see that we're buying banners, buying leaflets, you know, doing all the different things with it, there's absolutely no question that it's been spent properly. The integrity of our people is you know, one of the highest priorities we've got. Officers.
I love the sly little dig at Mark there. You know, just from saying the integrity, you know.
In this organisation that are with us now are the guys who probably put in more than anybody else in the organisation. And it's not just the donations they put in to buy the stuff they need. They're also the guys putting petrol in the car, picking people up, dropping off. Sometimes they buy people coffees and lunches when they see that they're struggling. Yeah. So I don't really know what it is you're looking for. I think no political party or organisation would ever account for anything to that minute detail. We're not a limited company at the moment. We haven't even got to that level of discussion yet. Let's say we're thrown in the deep end. We up until the end of that meeting, you know, on Tuesday night, we all wanted to get this resolved and stay where we were and work these things through. So we are not even 2 days old at this point. So I you know, we haven't even got that discussion whether we're a limited company or not. The only thing I can tell you is we will definitely be getting registered as a political party. We already have the ball rolling on that at the moment.
Whoa! You know, for a company that's, you know, for a group that's only 2 days old, they're already rolling the ball in the EC. Wow, that's fast, isn't it? You know, just as soon as you leave, you know, send in your EC application straight away, right? You don't even have any fucking people to be your president and that shit, right? Not that we know of. But then they're going to go on to mention, I think, about this electoral part right now. It's either now, I think.
And we will comply fully and truthfully with the Electoral Commission on that, and we will have regional accounting units, not one central accounting unit.
Okay, we're going to go to a Son of Burgundy now, if I can find you in the list. Where have you gone? There we go. Right, allowed to speak.
That's a bit interesting. So they say they're going to have regional accounting things, but I thought the problem with the EC was the fact that they wanted to know the PA's actual accounting thing and were in discrepancy of these other accounts, maybe? So having multiple accounts for each regional thing, is that a good idea? I don't know of any other political party that does it that way, to be honest. Like, I don't think, you know, anyone else. I mean, you have to ask, maybe ask the British Democrats if they have party, you know, information like that. You know, if their bank accounts are, you know, separated into regions. I doubt it. Doesn't sound right.
You can now go.
Do they have
Well,
to
can you
mute
hear me,
themselves?
Rag?
Yes.
Yes, these
Yeah, okay,
guys.
I'm here. Fantastic. I just had two brief questions.
Listen,
The first of which is, what percentage of each region has left to join us on average, roughly?
That's good.
And the second
Good question.
question is, what is the best case scenario and worst case scenario for our relationship with PA going forwards as a separate entity?
I'll answer them in the order that you gave them. I've absolutely no idea. All I know is that 32 of the 36 offers came across. We have you know, it's patriotic terms policy and most other political organisations policy that you cannot be an officer in one party and a member of another. So all I can tell you is that 32 people have come across as officers, and they do not have dual loyalty. In terms of that, we have put no pressure on anybody. We have made tremendous friends and comrades across the regions. That, you know, and you know, I don't mean just in like yourself in Scotland. I'm pretty sure you've got friends down south as well in other regions. We've all formed these bonds. We're not, you know, going to make any ultimatums or anything like that. So I don't know. There'll be people in this chat now who are fully on board with Patriot Alternative. There'll be people who are fully on board with Homeland, and there are people probably deciding they don't know where they're going and might hedge their bets and stay in both. We're not going to force anybody to do anything and decide. When we've set up this one and we've called it Community for Homeland. It is not going to be our final community chat. We will transition people in using ID. What that's going to look like, I don't know. I am confident, as are the regional organisers, the 6 regional organisers that are here today as well, that we have some of the absolute best people in Patriot Alternative. And one thing you've heard us all talk about, you know, about particularly myself, Mark, and Steve Blake, the old timers, that this is the best group of officers we've ever seen in a nationalist organisation. And most of I'm going to say most of the best have come over here with us. And obviously I'd be biased, but I certainly believe that, you know, it's not going to take us 3 years to reach the level that Patriot Alternative, because we've gained that more experience this past 3 years. We know what we're doing. For example, like we've got the name sorted in one day. The logo sorted.
Oh well, you know, for a group that's only, you know, hasn't been planning this, you know, they've got the egg, you know, they've got the chickens in order, haven't they? You know, already got a name, already got a thing into the EC, you know, application on the way. What the hell, you know? It's fascinating, right? You know, and all the best guys have come over. I doubt, press X to doubt on the this hasn't been in the works for months. I mean, remember Kenny's original you know, I quit moment was January, right? And even some say that there were frustrations back in October, right? I doubt that this is a reactionary thing, a recent thing, shall we say?
On day 2, despite the fact that every one of us has got full-time jobs and families, you know, we're still managing to find it. That's the type of people we've got, the people that put the effort in, the determination, and put the hours in. So I'm in terms of numbers, I don't know yet.
Oh, another sick burn there. Hey, Mark, you know, why haven't you got a full-time job? These guys can do it. Why can't you, yeah?
And it doesn't really matter. The important thing for us is that we have got officers prepared to lead, and we're going to continue. We've got a lot of activists who've come on, we know that, and we'll continue to work. And if we continue to do that, we will be successful.
Just off the back of what you'd said there, I didn't mean as an interpersonal relationship between ourselves and PA. I mean, what will the relationship between the two organisations going forward look like?
Can I answer that?
Of course.
I'd like to say, Burgundy, I think the relationship between the two organisations is probably going to be not much, because yesterday PA died. Yesterday, every activist
shots fired
came along. Yesterday, every officer with political ambition came to us. We are the future of nationalism. PA has got no more political aims. Everyone with political aims left yesterday.
Oof.
The leadership have none. It is us moving forward.
I'm going to counter signal that a little, Conor. I think there's definitely good people still left in Pit Alternative, including good officers with agency. I think there's people who are as heartbroken as us. That it's failed. The last, this week has been absolutely horrendous for lots of us. We put so much time and effort in, and I think there is still good quality people. In terms of
100%, I wouldn't shit on the my brothers in arms that I've been out leafleting with and doing demos with for the last few years. Never in a million years is that what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to the core leadership, everyone with political ambition left yesterday.
That is true. I think, well, maybe the exception of Steve Blake. But
his capo, Steve Blake, the only one left with political ambition. What? Oh, can't you see that what's going on here? I see.
But what I will say is, we had an agreement that was witnessed at the RO meeting, that there would be the hand of friendship constantly between myself and Mark, and we desired as little friction as possible. I don't think that has been stuck to at the moment, because while we have explained the situation, why we've left, we haven't gone on to personal attacks, and that already seems to have happened, and that's incredibly disappointing. But I'm still...
Well, as I say, you know what Mark's like. He can't take no for an answer. He doesn't like being, the butt of any jokes, or he's got very thin skin, that Mark. Mark, you see. So, but whether this is just true, or if there have been, maybe some grievances, this could also be Kenny just, making out like there is grievances. I don't know, maybe potentially to sway people to his side. Like, Mark's not playing fair, right? You want to be on the fair side. The one that rises above it will always be their best friends, right? They're good people. This kind of, just to, edge people out of PA, because that's the goal here, isn't it? The goal is, at the moment, for both groups is to survive, right? They both can't coexist in nationalism, right? It's again, splitting of the willpower, right? And at the end of the day, both want to be top dogs. So there's gonna be name calling, and start off with, and then there'll be attacks, and more. It'll get nasty, right? It's gonna get more nastier as this goes on. Because at the end of the day, can only be one winner, right?
Still going to counsel that we do not rise to that. I still want us to have a good relationship with the people involved, even the leadership, even the people who are attacking and slagging me off and ROs off and telling lies about us. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm a thick-skinned guy. I've been in this for 30 years. You develop that in this movement.
You're a thick-skinned guy, are you? No, you're not, Kenny. That's the most hilarious thing. You're not a thick-skinned guy at all. Quite the opposite, actually. Do you remember there was a certain event back last December where you had your bullets counted, and someone made a joke about you you instead of it being the regular old shooty bang bang bullets, instead the police police found that you had was it 33 extra dildos. Someone rose to that occasion. So to say that you have thick skin, well, I very much doubt that.
And that's what I want. It's what I've always counselled with the dafties and the idiots. And I think with people who are sniping at you, you only give them more oxygen when you respond to them. So my policy is basically going to crack on. I don't want to step on their toes. If they're good and strong one ideas, we don't need to tire that. One of our key goals is to make sure our community politics is focused on finding the right nationalist leader in an area, a nationalist candidate, nationalist political activist, and helping them to establish a foothold in their local neighbourhood and community. That's proper community politics. There was a perception from the current, Mark and Laura, that community politics is any kind of politics. For example, they reckon Skegness is community politics. For me, that's just political campaigning. That's because we had no infrastructure or organised campaign in that local area. Cannock, on the other hand, is community politics because we've got a man going to be a local candidate. They've embraced and are communicating with the local community in preparation for the event, and they've got a local team. That is community politics. They're setting roots in that community, attempting to win hearts and minds with a focus of getting elected representatives there. Flash demos doesn't do it. Flash banner drops doesn't do it. Now, we're all for people. If people want to do these things, great. It raises the profile. They're all fast. I'm not condemning these things out of hand. But the whole organisation needs a more focused approach to winning power, taking control of budgets and policy making in places, and that can be as simple as parent councils, parish councils, but ultimately we want local authority, and then who knows beyond that. But it's pie in the sky to think we will fight constituency seats. That there was a crazy statement made at the RO meeting by Mark that he could see us winning a parliamentary seat in a couple of years. Absolute nonsense. We put no effort into community politics. That's not going to happen. I had secured an agreement previously that when we do get registered, nobody gets to stand as a candidate unless they've been putting in at least 6 months of community political effort, and that is true. That should stand, because when we had the BNP, we campaigned for absolutely years to no effect. As soon as we started doing community politics and putting things like that in place, we kept getting elected in town after town after town, because you have to put the groundwork in. You can see it today with lots of these other smaller parties that they just, election comes, say they're going to stand, and they're getting 20 votes, 36 votes. It's absolutely embarrassing and demoralising. You don't get anything out of this world without actually putting the effort in. And right now, PA is not putting the effort into that. That is what we will do in Homeland. We will try and get the community leaders and the focus there. I don't know, was that the question?
I think we'd like to move on to Nigel from Lothian now. So I'm going to find him.
Right. So basically, Homeland is going to live or die on whether they get accepted as a political party. That's basically that's basically what's going to happen here. If Kenny and his party Homeland cannot secure party membership, party status, it's over for them. So this is a very tenuous position. It also brings up the fact that actually PA are now in a more precarious position as well, because if they want to win people back, they've got to prove that they want to do this community politicking, right? So they've got to get registered. Like, So it's interesting. It's going to be a race to see who can get elected first, right? You know, who can become a party first, basically. Very interesting.
Wherever he's gone, here he is. There's his dog. I recognise that dog from last year's camp. Okay, you can unmute yourself, Nigel, and speak.
God, these guys are worse than me. Jesus Christ.
Are you there, Nigel, or shall we move on to someone else?
Did they take Boomer Division with them or something? Jesus Christ, is there someone know how to work fucking Telegram?
Move on to somebody else. Some of my questions have been answered, so yeah, let somebody else have a go. Thank you.
All right then, put yourself back on mute. We'll go over to Simon. Daniels already said he wants to be skipped. So now it's Kane.
Kane.
You know, it's a testament to Kenny's skills there answering questions. He's already answering them before they've been asked. Can't say better than that, can you?
Oh, that's just fucking. Like fucking hell. Like remove fucking Jesus. Like stop sitting on Kenny's dick for fuck's sake, man. Like, oh, that kind of like, oh, ugh.
Right, Kane, you can now go.
That was cringe.
Hi,
Cringing.
Kenny. Yeah, I think one of my main questions have been answered, but I'll ask it again just to leave it open to any of the ROs. How is Homeland going to distinguish itself from PA? I just wanted you guys to summarise what are the key differences going to be between the two parties going forward.
Absolutely nothing.
And then my other question was, do you believe there's absolutely no way of reconciling this split that's occurred? And obviously, I think the split is a bad thing. I'm not very happy it's happened because obviously I was very fond of PA and more so my region, because I think there's some great guys in my region, which is why I've come along. So yeah, those two questions is really what's on my mind. So yeah, I'll leave that.
I'd like to have a go at these. The first one we'll put on ice because we're in the second phase of our discussion tonight. We're going to talk about what we're doing, and I think it'll be answered there. The other one, is it possible to reconcile? I think the answer is definitely no. There has now been some mud thrown at Kenny. There's been some mud thrown at me, despite me making very clear in my resignation letter that I will not. I will not rise to it, and I will not. I don't want to want a clean break, and don't want any of that. The things have been said that are untrue, and it's going to be, I think, not really possible to forgive them at this point.
No shit. There's plenty of examples of that happening, right? And no shit. So there's no reconciliation. It's done. Like, these guys aren't going back, right? The offer is not going to be taken up. They're not going to get anything out of it either. So, yeah, that's it. Like, PA's been diminished. It's been split in half. What do we do?
So, there's been some things said about what's our attitude going to be towards PA going forward. Well, I think that really does depend on them and how they behave. We'll have no problem with the activists in different regions, and there'll be some regional organisers that we're still very friendly to, such as Steve Blake, who is a stand-up guy.
Can anyone not see that Steve Blake is their guy? He's just waiting in the wings until PA actually collapses before he comes over, It's so obvious.
But I don't think we'll be seeing photographs of Homeland and PA stuck together with two different banners. I don't think that's on the cards, really. That sort of thing.
Can I just interject to extend the whole point about this? Again, like, we tried everything we thought we could to try and fix this problem. And we had
But you didn't capitulate, mate. You didn't literally get on your hands and knees, like holding your balls in your hands and saying, "Mark, we'll come back, please." You didn't you didn't do enough. The offer was there, mate. You know, the offer to, you know, do as much as you could was there. Mark was like, yeah, here's my purse. Put your balls in it. You can come back and everything will be forgiven. I just want the money. Uh,
3-hour call on just this Tuesday just gone, where, you know, throughout the entirety of the conversation, even though you know, by a certain point, Mark had basically said, yeah, okay, Kenny can resign now or whatever, and we knew it wasn't looking good. We were still towards the end trying to get them to understand where we were coming from in terms of the political direction and things like that. But you know, it was among just the whether you want to call it arrogance or just, you know, just inability for them to compromise with us and actually accept where we're coming from, rather than just sticking to their guns with all these things. It wasn't just that. It was also just calls leading up to that conversation, all sorts of stuff in the background where, I mean, I myself, you know, I've never had any bad behavior as an RO. I've never broken the code of conduct and never been a problem. However, after a brief conversation that I had with Laura, where she was demanding access to my council chat with my regional officers, where I was skeptical about why she needed to be in there. She basically demanded, and then I found out a couple hours later that she had gone to Mark and demanded that I was kicked from PA if I didn't allow her into this group chat, which just had like me and just a few other people from my region, you know, under the suspicion that I was, you know, causing trouble or whatever. And it simply wasn't the case. And I was very happy to show screenshots of the conversation. It was simply to do with activism. It had nothing to do with what they were talking about. And that was just with me. And there was a whole host of other things happening with different ROs. I don't know how specific I should get into it, because, you know, otherwise people get dragged down specific examples. But one of the ROs who has left PA simply didn't pick up the phone to Mark because he didn't want to feel bullied into saying whatever. He knew Mark was just on a fishing expedition in terms of, you know, information and things like that, and simply not picking up the phone to Mark was apparently a great insult. And despite him doing great work in his region, and never having any problems with leadership, Mark decided that, you know, he was, yeah, why he referred to him with demeaning names, and then said, yeah, he needs to go as well. And initially he wasn't even going to be allowed to the RO discussion on the Tuesday. Another RO was also initially not going to be allowed to this reconciliation.
Oh, you've got to admit it. This is Keno. This is absolute, you know, Mark Collett's here, you know, battering down the door at the fermented, you know, coup d'état by Kenny, and all these people are like, oh, we don't want to get involved, but. It's just like Mark's paranoia and Laura's paranoia get the better of them, you know, and just make it worse for them, if that is the case. But on the other hand, you can see that, you know, the roots of you know, insurrection were definitely planted. You know, I wonder if there was more fermenting from Kenny's side as well. You know, because why would they be acting like that otherwise, huh? What had happened? Oh wait, yeah, they got locked out their chats. Was that after or before they started demanding that you let them in, huh?
Meeting as well, just for speaking to his regional council about the whole situation. So people who are trying to do the right thing and trying to resolve things in.
Oh, we can't have that. We can't have, you know, a one-sided story here, can we, guys? We've got to have Mark's side of the story or nothing. You know, you can't have dissent here.
In a civil manner, that wasn't good enough for Mark, because unfortunately, it's either Mark's way or the highway. You know, anytime we've tried to change his mind on
There it is. There it is.
things in the past, it required a bit of a pile on or a bit of a heated argument just to get a common sense thing done or changed or whatever. And you know, it was always a headache to do small things. And so when it came to this, we knew it would be difficult, but we hoped that just having this sheer number of different officers just saying we stand with, you know, Kenny on this list of points and whatever, even with that, he looked at 2/3 of his officer corps, you know, disagreeing with him, and he wasn't prepared to budge. And I think that says it all. He wanted to just dictate what we were all doing.
So for everyone to come into agreement on these issues, there must have been prior talks about the issues being raised beforehand, right? For it to become a actual like point on, you know, as a letter, right? So again, you know, how far back did that stretch? When did it start? When did the wheels start turning? You know, when did people start coalescing together? Because to be honest, like Mark has a point, you know, it does seem like insurrection was fermenting, whether it was by his, you know, stupidity and naivety and not listening to people. But, you know, these things don't just spring up and everyone agrees, right? There would have been talks and, you know, things would have happened, and then there'd been more talks, you know, grievances would have just been exacerbated. And yeah, it's also well, I mean, it's predictable, isn't it? Like, I mean, this is what Kenny does. If you know Kenny Smith, you know he does these things. He likes to go around and, you know, ferment.
And so that's why we couldn't reconcile it. It wasn't because we were asking too much. It's because Mark and Laura, by extension, refused to work with us.
Can I jump in there a second?
I'd just like to just put some extra context behind some of the things Fraser said. There was once Kenny put his resignation in, various regional organisers, myself included, were looking for the door because we didn't see it working without him. And
this guy is such a oh, Jesus Christ! Can you take Kenny's dick out of your mouth, mate? Like, holy shit! How do you breathe? Like, fucking hell! Like, this guy is not the be all and end all of fucking nationalism. He's not fucking Jesus Christ. He's not gonna, you know, he's not gonna save he's not gonna rain down and fucking turn fucking 2 wheat loaves of bread and fucking water into wine here, you know. Fucking, you know, Jesus Christ! You have to be this like fucking pompous.
It was the younger guys that rallied us and said, no, we can't do that. We need to stick together. We're all such a good team. Let's try and make a solution. And it was suggested to write a letter and have people sign it. It is a perfectly normal thing, be it in business, politics, in government, or anything like that, to write a letter of grievance as a kind of petition and pass it up the chain. That's a perfectly normal thing to do. There was nothing in the letter, as you will read, it is pinned in the chat, that was in any way threatening or a personal attack. But that's the way it was seen. And the way they reacted to it was, rather than just immediately call a meeting and try and thrash out the issues, they chose to go around to different regional organisers and start putting pressure on. And they insisted that they must be given access to regional council chats immediately because they said they were a cesspit of snakes, and they believed that we were all taking the piss out of them and saying nasty things. Anyone who is an officer of PA knows that, you know, the council chats for your region are a place where we discuss events, activism, and, you know, the planning of.
Oh please! I bet there was. I bet there was people like taking the piss out of fucking Mark and Laura, wasn't there? Like fucking hell! Like, I bet there was.
It's not a place to bitch about anyone. We're the real core of PA. We're the professional people. It was an act of sheer paranoia to start insisting we need to be added to them so we can have eyes on them to make sure no one say anything out of turn. There was no facts or evidence to support this whatsoever, and we took
Whoa! I mean, this is like deja vu for me. This is like, hey, you know, PA's telling you what to say and do. I feel like I've been here before. Oh wait, I have. I mean, this is the reason I left in the first place.
well, we just objected together. Really, we said no. Why do we say no? Because it's our council. If you're an organizer, if you're any other walk of life, you have the right to form a chat with your guys and just talk amongst yourselves and do the things you want to do. You shouldn't have somewhat a big brother watching you. That shouldn't be the case. It's the same in other things of life. You know, if you're in a school, you're there with teacher. There's a certain atmosphere. If the head teacher sits at the back of the classroom for the lesson, different atmosphere, isn't it? Everyone's on the best behavior.
Just from hearing that, I'm not an
breaking news, everyone! I've just read Searchlight have leaked the RO list. That's right. Regional officers have been leaked by Searchlight. Remember the guys who announced the split of Patriot Alternative for anyone else? Guess what? They've released the list of the regional organizers. How did that happen? Holy shit. How did that happen? Who's your membership list, your membership data? I'm just saying, if your name ends up on that list, you know, if you see your name in Searchlight then, or even the Sunday Times in the coming, you know, weeks, just saying, how did they get that? Who's given them that data? Which side is it? Is it Team Kebab, Team Mario Kart? Which one is it? That's the real question, isn't it? Who's fucked you over? But did say, some people tried to warn you this was going to happen. Some people did, but you know, well, I feel bad for you guys, but Jesus. You know what? I'm gonna get that up on screen actually. Right, fucking, let's go. Let's see, where is it? There we are. Yeah, here we go. Right, so we'll stop sharing that. We will go to present, share screen, and entire screen, share audio, share that. Okay, so then we'll go to, here we go. Right, so there it is. Sorry to say it, if you think I'm doxing people, well, tough shit. I'm just proving a point here. This is the RO list for Patriot Alternative, as they were. Right? It's on screen right there. Yeah? How did they get that? You want to tell me that? So far, Collett seems to have kept the loyalty of his home region, Yorkshire, where the RO's Tyree husband, Sam Mellier. What's that actually say? I can't actually read that. So it says, so the RO's is Tyree's husband, Sam Mellier, North East England and London, regardless of his own questionable. Oh, so far, okay. So the people who got leaked. Oh, this is even better. Huh. So the people that left, right, are the ones who are getting leaked. So Mark Collett giving Searchlight fucking the list of ROs. A bit interesting that. No, Yorkshire's not there. They didn't split away. East England. Northeast England, is it? Yeah, Northeast England. They haven't split away. London hasn't split away. No way. Bit coincidental, that. Oh, shit. Let's see what Howler Monkey's got to say then. Backing of Steve Blake, England's East Regional Organiser. But in the online broadcast on Thursday night, Blake endorsed Collett. Searchlight has heard from some within the British Nazi network who suspect that Blake might secretly sympathise with his old friend Smith. Of course he does. At the end of 2007, Blake and Smith were two of the leaders of the BNP faction that attacked Collett as part of their split from Nick Griffin's BNP. Some far-right veterans have not forgotten that split, and that split led to leaking the BNP members list, won by one of Blake and Smith's faction, and they fear similar dirty tricks. Wow, guess it's Mark's turn now, isn't it? Oh, shit. Oh, man. Smith claims support of 32 PA, almost 60% who hold organising roles. You know. Oh, fucking hell. Dude. Oh, yeah, shit. I'm going to have to read that later. But anyway, I think, well, that's a little bit of a side content. Let's get back to the stream, shall we? I'm sure. Holy shit. Wow, there we go. Collett's doing it. Kenny, is he? Fucking hell. Woo, lads!
But for me, that speaks to a fundamental lack of trust from top-down leadership. So I just wanted to interject that. That's my personal opinion. I'm by no means an officer or anything.
But it's the idea that it's not just a lack of trust; it's that they're under threat and under personal attack. And no one was under personal attack. It's all been a professional disagreement on
I just want to say an important point. Circling back
we'll let Jerome come in now.
Sorry, Anne. Just circling back to the original point before I get it, is that there is an advantage of doing this. I think the other point is that, well, how do we move forward? An advantage is that we have a clean start and a brand new clean media image. The problem is with PA, I think a lot of the problems that there wasn't a proper control of what was put out from the get-go, which is crucial for an organization where you have to avoid defamation. So I think definitely a Homeland can have a squeaky clean media image from the start. And the second thing I'd like to say would be
squeaky clean. No, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem with the squeaky clean image, right? You're gonna face the same problems as Collett, and I know Kenny in a minute will try and debunk that and say that that's not the case. But you're the old BNP guard. There's so much water under the bridge, so many skeletons in the closet, right? This is the point. You're not going to have a squeaky clean image because of people who run this organization. Kenny Smith is one of those people, unfortunately. The old guard. That's what we're saying. That's what I've said for a long time now. Is the old guard got to be done away with? You've got to be a clean break. Nationalism needs a clean break away from these people who fucked up and have continually fucked up for the last 40 years in some cases, right? So let's hear it. Let's go. Oh my god, I can't believe that. Fucking hell.
We all had phone calls. I think I was had a phone call for nearly about 2.5 hours with Mark, and for about an hour with Laura, and calls with lots of other people. And this was our last course of action. Regrettable it is, but unfortunately, I know I can say hand on heart I did everything in my power before the Tuesday RO call meeting to prevent this. So there's a view from Wales, at least.
Thank you, guys. I wanted to appreciate you talking. The last question I had, if it's all right, is it okay to just ask one more thing? Yeah, I was just wondering, if PA's had so many struggles trying to become a political party, how is Homeland going to overcome those hurdles? Very much will face the same issues, don't you think?
I believe part of the issue is the fact that Mark is listed as being one of the 3 officers. You have to list 3 people on the chairman, the national nominee.
You've got a good point there in the chat, actually. Fucking, your name is Gobbledygook, but you do raise a good point. This could be underwater backgammon 4D chess. This could be them trying to legitimize Kenny, right? By only releasing the names of the people who defected. It could be potentially, yeah. That's a false, that's potentially, yeah. I can see that. That's a potential thing, leak the people who have defected, to make it look like the other side is the one doing it, right? Yeah, potentially, yeah. It could be a Schadenfreude.
An officer and the treasurer. So I think that's the problem to getting through. We have got a team of people who are putting an application in at the moment.
I agree. Yeah. I agree, mate.
That are not well-known nationalists who might be on the radar. I think it's very clear with the Electoral Commission stuff that they are all over, not just our website, but our social media presence. They even referenced some of the videos that were on Odyssey to prove some of their outlandish theories. I think the last things were all about the limited company and finance. We'd actually finally crushed them. It felt like regarding the Equality Commission, the Equality Act questions that they had. Although that's by no means certain, because in some of the applications where we'd seemed to have good ground and victory, they then brought up something completely random and different the next time. So you can't always tell with them. But yeah, we'll be putting in an application that does not look like it's connected with anybody else, and it won't even be under the Homeland name initially. It is far easier to change a political party's name after the fact than it is to get it registered. I think if we went in straight in with Homeland and well-known personalities, we would probably face exactly the same struggles as Patriotic Alternative. People keep pointing out, oh, it's saying application incomplete. That is simply what the Electoral Commission to do when they reject an application. It's not necessarily that means that there's stuff missing. Is that we haven't satisfied their requirements, and some of them are very spurious. So the tactic is basically to get registered essentially with unknowns and sort it out from there.
Just something that hasn't been said about the Electoral Commission thing. I had sight of it this year. I helped review the last application with Kenny, and we looked at the previous applications as well. The thing that shocked me was that there was no incremental change. So what I would expect to see with a document like that, you would submit it, comes back with issues, you make the changes, you put it back. But the first few applications, that didn't happen. They just completely abandoned the constitution they'd got and did a completely different one, as though they were trying to get around rather than actually answer the queries from the Electoral Commission or make any actual changes to the document they submitted.
Yeah, potentially that's the reason why they don't want to become a political party. They are intentionally stopping that. Well, for whatever reason, I don't know. But yeah, it's very interesting. If they keep changing their policy, the constitution, if they keep changing it, because again, like we said, the website had a completely different constitution, and then a certain person, yours truly, went to the ICO because of a data breach on, then they changed the website completely. And I don't know if that was by my doing, but yeah, my data breach was so much of a concern. They suddenly, then mysteriously their website changed. They changed, their constitution and everything. It was no longer a copy and paste job. Now, whether that was to coincide with this Electoral Commission job, it seems like that might be the case. So yeah, that's interesting. That lines up. If it was one of the early ones.
It was only after Kenny and Steve got involved that they actually said, no, we need to do this properly and confront the various issues. And that's why you got various applications being rejected for exactly the same thing. They were a different application with a different constitution, but they never really combated the questions from the Electoral Commission in those earlier ones. We are at 8:20, and we've got 2 more questions to go. I think we need to power through these and get onto the positive stuff, really, because we've got a lot to talk about with future direction, and we've already put off a question for that. So I'd like to go to Ryan now, if I can find him in the chat. There he is. Allowed to speak. Unmute yourself.
Hello. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, so a lot of my main questions have been answered already anyway, so this should be pretty quick. I've just got a couple of quick questions about safeguarding, really. Because from what you guys have said, it seems like Homeland is going to have, well, it's going to be a bit more action focused as a group. Do you plan on having any structures in place to make sure Homeland doesn't get prescribed like national action, you know, like getting a solicitor in to sign off on leaflets and banners and activism and that kind of thing? And also, will current PA members need to be revetted by the Homeland's ROs?
So we you know, when we talk about being activists and proactivists, it's pretty much similar about PA. We're legitimate political
legitimate, okay,
community campaigners. We will not be going into aggressive nonsense and rhetoric.
Aggressive nonsense. You're on voice recording, so you're going to go around someone's house and break his legs and steal his shit. How is that not aggressive? You idiot.
You know, like people like National Action. So there is not going to be any danger of that. I actually don't believe there's any danger of PA getting prescribed.
Oh, well, you know, just wait, Kenny. You know, this is the other kind of tinfoil hat. Right on, get it on there. This split is very, very close to a certain ex-PA member's trial. One man who's was set up for you know, 2 counts of, you know, Mr. Chris Kearns. It's very coincidental this is happening before his sentencing. He's already, you know, pled guilty. He's accepted that, you know, he is guilty of the charges. And now we're just waiting on the hearing and sentencing. But that potentially, you know, with great expense and cost, right, to the British taxpayer, to extradite a man from Spain to face, you know, charges here in the UK. Why didn't they just do it in Spain? Are you saying that they're not going to prescribe PA? Well, I'd suggest that because of that action itself, yeah, he could have faced, you know, he could have faced it in Spain and got his, you know, prison sentence there, right? And he'd be spending it in a Spanish jail right now, right? He'd serve most, you know, however many years he would have gotten, right? But they wanted him here. Now, the only reason they'd want him here is to have it on the English court system or the British court system's books, right? Why would they need that? So, you know, I don't think the Home Secretary can deal prescriptions for groups that are outside the, you know, for people who are outside the UK's jurisdiction, like in Spain. So you say that he's not, you know, they're not potentially can be prescribed? This could be the start of it, right? You know, it's just, that's my theory anyway. That's my 2 cents. So when you say, I don't think PA is going to get prescribed, well, and just look at the timing of this, you know, maybe there's some coincidences here. I don't know.
Adamant to that. Nothing PA has ever done would suggest that's the case. The code of conduct is rigorous. The effort that all the officers here have put in to ensure that, you know, getting rid of that guy is.
You didn't get rid of Charlie, though, did you? You didn't get rid of Chrissy.
As part of the reason why I have confidence in that. I'm not so confident if they do away with the system, which is what they've been proposed, and Mark can see that he's not doing that, but they are.
Kenny, Charlie Fed posted under your system. He was given a free pass because he was in Spain. He shouldn't have been allowed in PA, right? But he was. He was given a free pass, and you allowed that. So this is kind of on you then as well, right? If something does happen because of it, it's kind of, you know, you didn't stick your foot down then. Certainly a problem now for some reason. And why is it a problem now? Why is the vetting thing a problem now? Is it because of Charlie? Because you don't want things like that to happen again? Remember, all these grievances started just after his trial, right? Just after his, you know, he was extradited to the UK. All these grievances about vetting and shit started up again, right? Just saying. Bit of coincidence there.
They're relaxing the system that we've got in place. Homeland will maintain a fully vetted system for our activist corps, so that will still be in place, and that will give us that security. We will not be relaxing the code of conduct.
Well, by the looks of it, you know, if anything's to go by, your activists, they're, you know, giving you their data on a list. Look what's just happened just now. Searchlight have leaked. Fucking, there are rows that defected. Brah. That's a brah moment. And you want to continue with a vetting thing like this? Okay, you're literally just setting people up for, you know, doxing and, you know, losing their jobs and stuff like that, you know, because they want to get involved in what they think is a legitimate, as you say, organization. You know, who, you know, well, when we say legitimate, what do you mean, Kenny? You know, you all believe that bloody Hitler's the second coming and he's going to come down, his spirit will return, and, you know, the coming man stuff, right? You're all die hard, like died in the wool National Socialists. So are you talking about that legitimacy? Because I mean, technically, that is the kind of thing that the British public don't like, right? It's the overt Nazism, you know, the supporting of, you know, the British enemies in World War II, right? So yeah, there's problems here. You call it legitimate, but you say that's nationalism, but it's not. Not in Britain. You know, they'll never accept that, and you can't like put face paint on it and, you know, a veneer over it, you know, and it still stinks. Like people, you go, they can still smell it, right? Sorry, that's the way the world is, but you know, that's the hand we're dealt. And the problem is you are actually diminishing the legitimacy of the ethno-nationalist cause that isn't like that. You know, you want to talk ethno-nationalism with all this Hitler simping shit. That's the problem I have. You know.
In fact, there's probably arguments for it to be strengthened in some places, because we are a legitimate, lawful outlet for our people trying to make political change. You're not going to get that by
Okay, we'll hold you to that, Kenny, when someone from Homeland fucks up, will we?
Encouraging dafties and extreme rhetoric or behaviour. So that's 100% something that's the same. We've only discussed today, I think, for the first time, what do we do. So basically, we've given everybody a free-for-all in this chat today. We've called it the community chat, and it's free-for-all. As I explained previously, we are not going to take any data away from PA. We are going to start from scratch with brand new spreadsheets even, and we will start gathering stuff. We want to start with a membership system, but obviously we want to maintain activism levels as well. So for the moment, we are going to use local memory knowledge from officers who's in the community team, build that friendship up, bring these people across without any vetting, because the officers know their job. New people that come aboard during this time will have to start the vetting process. But what the proposal, I think, like I say, it's not set in stone, but the suggestion was today that when we do start with a membership system, we will do the one that I had proposed for PA. We will have people who want to come on as members, people who want to come on as activists. If you come as an activist, you'll need to do your ID. So yes, if you are formerly in PA community, once we moved to paid membership and start creating the activist community groups after that. IDs will need to be done again, but that shouldn't.
Yes.
I can't imagine that's going to be a problem
That's right,
for anybody
guys.
else.
Send them
who's
your
already been
information.
part of
Just
that
Searchlight
system in
can
the
leak it
past.
in about a couple of months. You know, whoever. I don't know.
Thanks, Kenny.
We'll go to was it Simon Wilson? I just need to find you in the chat. Oh. Where's he gone? What's his username? Oh, it's screaming.
Boomer moment.
I know he's bloody hell. It's Scott Wilson. That's what I'm looking for. Scott Wilson, not Simon Wilson. Oh, this is a ball ache.
Embrace the struggle.
I'm embracing. I've been embracing for days, mate. Embracing for days. Right. Scott Wilson is allowed to speak. Please unmute yourself before starting.
Hey guys.
Embracing Kenny's
yeah, obviously this situation isn't ideal, and it appears it's only come about because the ROs were forced. You know, hands were forced. You know, obviously, like everyone believes that we are stronger together, but there comes a point if I think the PA's run its course. Poor leadership. You know. I mean, I've noticed it myself. I always thought Mark, Laura were not leaders. Mark was more prioritized with like streaming, playing video games, reviewing books than he was ever organizing anything with PA.
He's more interested in playing Mario Kart. Oh, who could have guessed? I mean, it just shows from his behaviour. Like, you know, you get him out one time, you know, to do a protest, and he misses his daughter's birthday. You know, what kind of guy? What a guy!
I ultimately think that PA will fizzle out, you know, because more and more people will get disenfranchised with the lack of direction. The movement needs direction and purpose, you know. But my question is, leadership-wise, how is that going to work in Homeland? Will there be, once things are established, will there be an election, or will there just...
Yes. How will the leadership work in Homeland? Who is willing to have Kenny Smith's hand up their arse and being his hand, his puppet? Yeah. Who is willing to bend over for that one, lads? Sign up now.
Be a leader appointed by, say, the council that's involved in organising Homeland. How's that going to work?
Great question, and to be honest, we haven't even discussed it yet. Listen, I'm a party manager. That's what I do. I have never ever had aspirations to be a leader. I've stood in every type of election.
Oh yes, that's right, Kenny. Yeah, you're going to be the party manager. You're going to hold veto over, you know, who is a regional organizer and the party leader, maybe even. And what if that party leader makes a decision you don't like? He's not going to be the party leader for long, is he? You know, the man behind the scenes. You know. Why don't you just put him mouth where his, you know, his money where his mouth is, and be the party leader, you know, rather than the puppet master?
From you know, community council, local authority, Westminster, Scottish Parliament, European election. I've stood and done it all. I've filled probably every role you can get in political organisations since I started as an activist and moved up as a local organiser in the BNP in the Highlands. Been a secretary, all the rest of it, an RO, did various roles in the media teams and all sorts of things. I've been there, done it, but I've never ever once thought that I would have to try and lead anything. I could think I could be an effective chairman, but I think Homeland probably does need a political leader. So there's opportunities there for that. I think the structure we probably need to look at, because we don't have, I don't think at the moment, anybody who would fulfill the roles that Laura and Mark did. And let's look, I'm going to be perfectly honest, they were great figureheads. for PA. You know, people can moan about the baggage that Mark had. I actually one of these people who don't think that is as insurmountable as people think. You know, the progress we've been made.
What do you mean? Really? The baggage that you placed on him by calling him a pedo back in 2007? Or are you talking about the constant like fuck ups in the media, like Young Nazi and Proud, where he's, you know, being recorded by a journalist saying he likes to drive people to suicide? The Russell Brand one, you know, where he's completely made a mockery of by Russell Brand. Or are we talking about more recently when, you know, he gets up and says his favorite book is, you know, Austrian Painter Man, like Tashman himself? What are we saying? You know, the baggage doesn't go away. You can't just overcome 20 years of that amount of baggage, right? You know, pipe dream. You think that is the case, and that's the same thing will happen to this group as well. The baggage will carry over. You know, again, as soon as you get close to power and more power, more shit will come out of the woodwork. You know, it's always the case with, you know, these investigative journalists, isn't it? They don't give a shit when you're a small thing like that. But, you know, even like sniffing the fucking, you know, upholstery upon the fucking MP seat in the House of Commons and watch as everybody's fucking, you know, dirty laundry comes out from their past. Yeah, you know, if they're just saying that's what's going to happen here, guys. So you better get the right fucking good angel boy, right? You know.
Fighting against the media tells you can combat that. The big smear that was done against Claire and I recently, exposing her business in the Herald, the biggest broadsheet in Scotland, and then the Sun, then the local paper and the local radio, where they tried to you know, accuse us of being fascists. And I simply got on the phone, chastised the journalist, harangued them for about 45 minutes, and got them to pull their article off the radio station, and, you know, on replay. And then,
wow, imagine doing that. Imagine going to an outlet and telling them like to, you know, retract their lies. Imagine if someone did that. Imagine if someone went to Hope Not 8 and said, "Hey, look, you're suggesting my name in your article, and you're calling them a member of national, a member of National Action." Imagine someone going to them and like telling them to, you know, stop that, remove that article, or you'll sue them and take them to court for libel, right? Imagine someone doing that. Yeah, it's not it's not a problem when, you know, people don't like people. You know, people you like do it, but someone you don't like, you know, they're a Hope Not Hate asset, right?
the next day, they did a feature that was almost like a party political broadcast for PA and advertising her business. You get that by combating the smears, and I don't think we often did that very much.
You'll never use the Hope Not Hate allegation again.
You know,
I'll bring this up.
We are going to be proactive on that. But in terms of structure, I think we got a lot of things fantastically right. Having big regional teams, you know, where you've got local contact for every county, you have 7 officer positions and an RO, gives you a lot of opportunity and robustness. We didn't complete that process in any single one region yet, but we had, I think, a very good model that is what has been reaping rewards. And I think that in terms of that management side, I think it's pretty good. On the political front, I think there's opportunities for us to, and it's one of the things I probably will be saying, that we need to look for people who can fulfill that role. I see some of them. In fact, I chatted with one chap this morning about how I could see him being the you know, public figurehead, talking about the nationalist take on the current affairs of the day. That type of role is very much needed, and these people that are what I call political leaders who express what the party's stances and concerns are to Joe Public. I'm decent at it, and I could do it if I had to, but I don't really want to. Like I say, I'm a party manager. I'm the guy who makes things happen and organises people, cajoles people. Some people said I could do it, but it's not my ambition to be so. But I will fulfil that role until we find somebody else. But we will get a constitution done. We will have proper structure. We will have leadership opportunities and the opportunity for people to do it. But I'm personally not a big fan of democracy. But I'm also not a big fan of outright dictatorship, because we don't have anybody with any kind of qualities to pull that off. We don't have one big messiah who can do everything. So we need strong leadership, but it shouldn't be one that doesn't listen to their officers. And one thing that I've tried to build in Patriot Alternative by encouraging the setup of a regional organisers meeting, of a national advisory council, is that you gather the best people around you and you take council advice for them. You delegate properly to the people around you so that these people can do the jobs. And I think it's obvious in the regions that are least effective that they're not good at delegating, if they don't follow the structure and appoint people after due consideration, you don't get an effective team. So I actually believe that while Homeland doesn't have a natural political leader at the helm at the moment, it's not actually necessary for what we're going to do. We are going to be focusing on community politics and raising the profile of local leaders around the country. We don't necessarily have to urgently find a political leader. I think that'll only become vital if we start having major success at local authority level, and where you get where, like in Burnley or Barking and Dagenham, you're getting 10, 12 councillors. And then it's a realistic possibility that you could fight a Westminster constituency seat. Then you really need a political leader for that. But I think we could happily go for 2 or 3 years with the team we got and without a political leader. I hope it isn't that. I've already put the feelers out, speaking to people to take to look at that and be that public face and that profile. And I think the nationalist movement does have the talent if these people believe in themselves.
Interesting.
I'd just like to chime in, because I can see Simon has just posted something in there saying he was in a choir, and they had a committee, subs, and any change had to be ratified. We'll go to that sort of thing eventually, but right now, for the kind of size we are, with the kind of people we've got, it's pretty clear who the regional organisers are. The regional organisers are the ones that step up and do a good job, the ones that everyone look to for guidance on what to do, the ones that actually organise. Amongst those, and with Kenny as well, we can choose a chairman from amongst our own and say, this guy is the chair, this guy is managing the thing, basically. I've been in working relationships with all these guys, and I can't think of an occasion where it has been necessary to say, oh, we're all divided, we need someone to make a ruling. It doesn't work like that. What actually happens is, when you're all professional and you all talk about the problems, you chew them over and you find a full consensus is built. We all agree. It's very rare that we have any disagreement, and even when we do, it's not a big deal. It's kind of like, yeah, I actually think this, but it's not a big deal. We'll go with what everyone else is saying. It's not necessary to have an incredibly rigid structure if you all believe in the same things and are all pulling in the same direction. It's not necessary to have democracy. It's not necessary to have dictatorship. There are natural ways of working that are in a grey area in between. One day, when we're much bigger, we'll have to codify something, but it's quite a long way down the road. And I think what we'll do now is we'll just do it with consensus and consent. Who's the regional organizer for West Mids. Well, all the West Mids guys obviously want Connor to be the regional organizer, so he is. We don't need to ratify anything.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've seen certainly, and it's getting worse in recent times, where we've had 9, 10 ROs all saying one thing and the leadership saying another thing, and they come down, I'm the leader, I'm the deputy leader, do what I say. And it's even progressed to saying, I'm the director, you have to do what you're told. With this core of people that we have,
you're my employees, do as you're told or you're fired. God damn. Oh, this organization's a mess. Oh, mess.
we're never going to be that situation. If you have to tell people you're the leader, it becomes quite clear that you're not really, and you're not in control. As Sam said, we work fantastically well together. We all know where we're headed, and any disagreements, and there are plenty of them, and on lots of different matters, are sorted amicably and investigated properly. So there's never any need for fallouts or anything like that. And it's mass difference. And one of the things that really struck out for me at that RO meeting last Tuesday was when we discussed having a codified set of procedures for all the different jobs in PA. And I don't want to give too much detail about a personal detail about Ant, but he is supremely suited for being involved in that project. Everybody in the RO chat knows that. But Mark refused to work with him on that, even though Ant is probably the man who was actually calling for that to happen a full year before Mark said we would introduce it on Tuesday, which is one of the things that we've been demanding for a long time. That wasn't happening. And then Mark suddenly said, no, I can't work with Ant on that, I refuse to. And that should not happen at that level of your management team in the most effective nationalist organisation in the country. That one of your most effective people, your ROs, who's professionally suited for doing that job, the leader's trying to say, not dealing with them, can't get on with them, not dealing with them. It's mental, absolutely mental. I cannot foresee us being in that situation with the team we've got on board at the moment.
I think we're about ready to move on. We're at 8:39 now, so if we can call a close to the
man. Jesus.
What was, and we'll start talking about the future, because I can see by the questions people are definitely wanting to go with that. So I've just pinned in the chat our statement of aims. This is what was crafted today to try and explain to you guys where it is we're headed. So I think I'm going to ask Kenny to take it from the top and perhaps read it out, and we'll take questions.
I was hoping you were going to do that.
I can read it out, but I'm stumbling over myself and getting tongue-tied. You're the one who does these speeches, you know.
Oh, goodness, I ramble. Okay, I'll give it a go. So, political direction. We will promote nationalism in its purest and most simplest form as the solution for our people. Registration is of paramount importance and will be done as soon as possible. Our priorities in order of precedence are: 1, community politics. That means winning power, actually really winning power in areas where we live. And that can take many shapes and forms. It's not just about becoming local authority councillors. Other forms of political campaigning and outreach. 3, community building of our movement. Now, these are all things that we did in the previous organisation, but we have just reordered the priority of them, and well, probably added the first one because it didn't really take place in most areas, driven usually by individual ROs rather than the organisation itself. We will maintain focus and not do lower priority tasks at the expense of the higher priority ones. So, you know, we will never have a deputy leader who says, no, I'm only interested in doing the community stuff, and that's all I'm going to bother with. Everybody will pull in the same direction and make sure we keep that order of priority. Getting involved. Everybody who we know and trust is welcome to get involved. We won't be excluding anyone for simply wishing to keep one foot in another movement for the now. You can call or message your RO to get involved with your regional group. Now, worth pointing out here, there are some regions where we don't have ROs and we're looking for people to step forward. You know, their PAs exactly the same. There are areas where they have no officers, but I have been very proactive in my time these last 2.5 years, setting up structures and regions. We're well capable of doing it. If you feel today listening, you want to be involved in this, come forward. Let's have a chat, and we can try and get you moving and get with teams. If there's no team in that region, we'll help you set up.
I'd just like to step in on that bit. I think if there are people in regions where we don't have an RO there yet, we can add them into a neighbouring region. For example, everyone knows I'm East Midlands and I live in Derbyshire. There are people that I know in South Yorkshire and the bottom end of the Northwest.
Oh, just reading the spear's going in now, lads. Like, I just read this from. I'm gonna read you this from Nick Griffin. Right, okay. Most of the criminals, psychopaths, and incels and keyboard warriors who go from PA and homeland honey traps to prison, not everyone and not immediately, but will happen as surely as the split and list leak. Hey, that's already happening. We'll do easy things. We'll do the easy thing and convert to Islam. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, shots fired, Nick. The minority, the ones with backbones, will need a creed that unifies, gives them a reputational shield, already built outside support network and reputation for which Muslims have a lot more respect than the hedonistic, nihilistic decadence of liberal society as a whole. You know the answer already. Christian, real muscular Christianity, not the milksop drivel of established churches or Judo-Christian heresy of the fake Christian Zionists. Basically, join the Templars. Nothing will do the job, so poor buggers that do get locked up will at least get the chance finally to do something real useful. Build a Christian prisoners network and stand up for our people in the darkest of places. Oh, that spear went right in there, mate. That's the fucking... Oh, shit, that's the spear of destiny right there. Ouch. Fucking hell. Damn. Holy shit.
Region who we might be able to meet up with when we do something in the Peak District. So if you haven't got a region for now, we'll try and fit you in to something where you might meet someone and the guys and do something together.
Yeah, well said. So we were at, I think, we'll roll out a membership system in short order so we can attract both passive and active support, providing much needed financial stability. We have already purchased the domain name, which is fantastic. We've created a website team who are going to get underway. They are pretty much, I think, 2/3 of the team, again, who are redeveloping, or maybe even more, who are redeveloping the PA website. So I know I've got quality people on board for that. Security will be to the same high standards already used by our regional organisers. We believe we have the best people in the movement for managing national and regional events. Media.
Right, okay, you know what? This drivel, I mean, in light of the recent news, I'm gonna, you know what? We've come up to 3 hours again. This is part 2. I'm gonna have to end it there. Like I guess I could have done the last like 10 minutes, but I mean, it's there if you wanna listen to it. It's out there. So yeah, I'm gonna end it there and basically have a good night, everyone. We'll see you soon. Yeah. Well, fucking Christ, man. Jesus Christ. Oh.